So, moin Leute. Erstmal Bude für alle, die im Stream sind oder das Ganze vielleicht nachträglich auf YouTube sich anschauen. Da wird es ja auf jeden Fall weiter online bleiben. Ich würde sagen, ich kann das Bild ja eigentlich schon mal auf die Kamera wechseln. Ja, kann man eigentlich schon machen. Ähm, ja, wir warten jetzt mal ab. Ich muss gleich mal ganz kurz nachschauen, wo der Stream wirklich läuft, weil ich habe mal gerade geguckt, hier im Community Crunch wurde nur gesagt, dass der Stream auf jeden Fall heute kommt. Ähm, aber mir ist aufgefallen, die steht nirgendwo. Wo? Oder? Also ich will jetzt mal von Twitch ausgehen, weil es irgendwie der sinnvollste Weg ist. Aber wir gucken einfach nochmal auf Twitter nebenbei, ob die dann irgendwas posten gleich. Ob da irgendwas kommt, falls doch nicht irgendwie der offizielle Account ist. Falls ihr was seht, auf jeden Fall auch gerne bitte Bescheid sagen. Erstmal moin Hussein, Justin, Royal Gaming und auch Black Angel und alle anderen, wie gesagt, die auch im Stream sind. Vielen, vielen Dank, dass ihr hier seid. Bin mal gespannt. Gucken wir mal, was heute kommt. Ich habe irgendwie hatte ich heute ein gutes Gefühl. Ich weiß auch nicht. Irgendwie habe ich heute das Gefühl, dass wir, ähm, ich weiß nicht, irgendwas werden wir sehen. Ich glaube eher was an unterschwellig. Also wisst ihr, dass man zum Beispiel, die stellen ja was von der Switch-Version vor, das wissen wir ja. Aber ich habe so ein bisschen das Gefühl, dass zum Beispiel im Background irgendwie dann doch so, oh, Hassan, sorry, dass dann im Background irgendwo ein Carcharodontosaurus oder so vielleicht doch mit reinkommt. Oder vielleicht ein Teaser ähm, zum Dings. Ich hoffe, es kommen Neuigkeiten zum Carcharodontosaurus. Shady, hast du die Mod. Ich habe mir sagen gesehen, aber wir haben immer noch kein Video zugemacht, auf jeden Fall. Gibt es das Farbevent auch bei Einspiel? Ja, da musst du das eingeben, was da im Video, was da stand. Warte, wir machen es nochmal ganz kurz auf. Du kannst, wenn du den lokalen Modus startest, unter erweiterten Einstellungen irgendwo ganz unten ja Events aktivieren. Und da musst du immer einen Eintrag posten und das ist hier im Prinzip dann das hier, also das musst du reinschreiben. Active Event gleich Packs oder Packs, wie auch immer man ausspricht. Und dadurch kannst du auch im Singleplayer auf jeden Fall das aktivieren. Wird die Axe Wyvern Edition überhaupt. Ja, die wird heute ja vorgestellt auf jeden Fall. Die Axe Wyvern Edition, um das wird es wahrscheinlich im Fokus heute gehen, dass man da was von sieht. Aber ich hoffe ja, dass sie im Zusammenhang damit mittendrin am Ende irgendwo nochmal normale News rauskloppen. Moin, Pommes, Pommes. Welche das Event soll. Oder halt automatisch. Falls es aber nicht ist, könnt ihr es selber aktivieren. Moin, Wenn, Gude. Kannst du mal in den Chat kurz schreiben, was ich aktivieren muss? Falls es bei dir nicht aktiv sein sollte, musst du dann das reinschreiben. Warte, ich kann es dir auf jeden Fall nochmal hier reinposten, extra for you. Stimmt, ARK-Serie könnte theoretisch auch mit dabei sein. Auch eine gute Idee. Wäre eine Möglichkeit. Guck mal, wie gesagt, bis jetzt haben sie noch nichts Neues gepostet. Weil eigentlich müssten sie ja ihren Stream selber auch posten, oder? Das war jetzt vom 20. August, genau, das war der. Wir können mal auf YouTube gucken, ob sie vielleicht da streamen. Wenn wir. Hier was? Wir halten auf jeden Fall mal die Kanäle offen. Wir halten mal YouTube, die haben 1,07 Millionen Abonnenten. Nee, hätte ich auch. Wir halten auf jeden Fall mal den Twitch-Account offen, den YouTube-Account offen. Wir gucken mal, wo was kommen könnte. Wie gesagt, ich denke mal, dass wir Infos also klar, wie gesagt, zur Switch-Version, das haben sie ja hier, wie gesagt, glaube ich, reingeschrieben. Ja, genau, ARK Ultimate Edition for Nintendo Switch. Also darum wird es wahrscheinlich hauptsächlich gehen. Aber wie gesagt, man kann ja trotz dessen immer noch was anderes mit reinpacken. Wie gesagt, man könnte ganz unterschwellig einfach im Background einen Carcharodontosaurus reinpacken und würde damit so gesehen anteasern, wie er aussieht. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Also auch da ein bisschen drauf achten, jetzt gleich im Stream, wenn er online geht, ähm, ob es da irgendwo versteckte Infos gibt. Muss man das ganz unten bei Einzelspieleinstellungen. Genau, du kannst ja irgendwo ja sowas reinschreiben mit Event aktivieren. Da gibt es so eine Zeile für. Shady, wird es eigentlich eine ARK 2 Edition überhaupt für? Ja, wird es ja. Steht da hier, siehst du? ARK Ultimate 2 Edition von Nintendo. Die soll jetzt ja im September kommen. Vielleicht gibt es auch heute ein offizielles Datum. Auch eine Option. So ungewohnt. Ich glaube, mir ist auch mega ungewohnt, weil meine ganzen OBS-Einstellungen nicht funktionieren. Weil ich ja auf Twitch den ganzen neue Zuschauer, neue Abos, also falls ihr von euch den Kanal abonniert, Leute, sehe ich hier leider diese Übersicht leider nicht. Deswegen sage ich immer mal währenddessen Dankeschön auf jeden Fall. Weil das alles auf Twitch eingestellt ist und ich habe das jetzt einfach für den einen Stream nicht umgestellt. Der wird von Wildcard noch ein Jahr brauchen. Moin, Dr. Nefarian. Nefarius, Entschuldigung. Vielen Dank. By the way, ich bin Jay. Ah, ja doch, ich weiß doch. Oh, dass du Jay bist, weiß ich doch. Gacha. Alpha X. Jay. Alles dabei. So richtig ungewohnt, dass viele hier einfach anders heißen, als auf, auf Twitch. So, gucken wir doch mal. Oh, noch 7 Minuten haben sie noch auf jeden Fall. Gamescom war auf jeden Fall sehr, sehr cool. Sehr, sehr cool. Also abgesehen von den Spielen, die waren jetzt nicht so mega gut, weil viele, was mich interessiert, waren die leider jetzt dieses Jahr nicht da. Ich glaube, die geilste Erfahrung war einfach, zwei Zuschauer zu treffen und mit beiden auch ein Bild zu machen. Und das war cool, ohne Mist. Das war so ein Moment, wo ich mich so ein bisschen Fame gefühlt habe. So Leute, oh Gott, das war geil. Ohne Mist. Ich glaube, ihr könnt die Kumpels fragen, mit denen ich da war. Ich war den ganzen Tag einfach mega gut drauf. Richtig Bock gemacht. 0 von 10 fandest du meine Shadow Man? Die war cool auf jeden Fall. Ich würde so sagen, der 8. Ja, du verkaufst Holy. Wie? Ja, ich habe auch Holy-Partner, genau. Deswegen, alle Leute, die Holy bestellen, immer den Code Shady benutzen. Ganz, ganz wichtig, Leute. Immer schön 10% damit sparen. Ähm, deswegen. Holy. Einfach eine schwarze pinke Shadow gesehen. Sandalen. Ja, gut, davon habe ich nichts mitbekommen. Also ich habe ihn ganz kurz gesehen. Ähm, Hat mich nicht interessiert, bin ich leider Gottes ehrlich. Und das war auch irgendwie sehr merkwürdig, dieser riesige Gemenge da und den Kram, Leute. Das war schon, keine Ahnung. Ich habe viele andere YouTuber und Twitcher auch gesehen, die ich auch nicht kannte. Aber da war nicht so ganz krass. Moin, Otakon. Gut, sieh mal, Otakon heißt auf jeden Fall auf Twitch und auf YouTube immer gleich. Sehr gut. So 55 haben wir jetzt. Haben mittlerweile was Neues gepostet, ob sie irgendwo mal streamen. Falls einer von euch irgendwo was sieht. Oh, 25 Sekunden. 25 Sekunden. Ah. Das sieht danach. Das ist der ganz normale Twitch-Channel, oder? Da sind wir doch auch schon gerade drauf. Survive the Ark. Ja, das ist doch hier. Ja. Oh. Geht doch auf Twitch los, Leute. Wuhu! Holt aber mega. Auf jeden Fall, ja. Kann man das Farbe jetzt spielen? Es gibt doch Holy Eistee, Dr. Nefarius. Hier. Holy Eistee. Oh, warte mal, die Kamera da. Ja. Kein Energy, einfach nur Eistee in Pulverform. Gibt das neu bei Holy auf jeden Fall. Auch da, wenn ihr es probieren wollt, auf jeden Fall mit dem Code Shady abchecken. Trinken wir auch noch im Stream hier gleich live. Ich habe mitten im Kühlschrank Wasserkalk gestellt. Ich hoffe, dass ein Ark 2 zum Beispiel ein nicht gelandeter Ark auf der neuen Erde landet. Ja, könnte man auf jeden Fall mitmachen, sowas, ja. Hast du eigentlich auch Ark für die Switch hier? Nein, aber ich überlege, ob ich mir das hole, wenn die Survival Edition kommt. Einfach ein bisschen für Videos. Weil das Switch habe ich ja, die steht hier neben am Fernseher. Deswegen, also alle, die mal einen Eistee von Holy auschecken wollen, ich finde es mega. Ohne Mist, ohne Zucker, schmeckt saugeil. Also man schmeckt nicht, dass ohne Zucker ist. Also wie man eine gesunde Alternative, also eine gesündere Alternative auf jeden Fall zum Eistee als der Eistee, der halt so viel Zucker hat. Lohnt sich. Deswegen, seitdem ich ihn hier habe, das Einzige, was ich als Angst habe, so gespannt wie aktuell, ich bin auch immer mega gespannt, Justin. Das Einzige, was ich ein bisschen Angst habe zu dem Eistee ist, dass er schneller leer geht, weil ich trinke mehr. Und die werden hier in so Tüten geliefert. Gibt aber auch Dosen, Die kommen ab Mitte September jetzt, glaube ich, aus Metall. Man füllt einfach das um in die Dose. Aha. Internet war cool. Bin ich noch da? Im Stream? Ja. Toll. Internet war aber ganz kurz weg, oder? Also bei mir zumindest. War das bei euch auch gerade wie so? Ich habe es nicht mitbekommen. Also bei mir war gerade schon eben ganz kurz OBS-Verbindung weg und wieder da. Ich hoffe, ihr seid noch alle da, Leute. Stream ist bei mir zumindest noch online. Ja, ja, ganz merkwürdig. Was war jetzt denn hier los? Ich habe Internet gespackt. Soll ja nicht jetzt rummachen. Aber kennst ist doch normal, oder? Man will streamen und dann spackt spackt Internet rum. Ey, das ist halt so Standard. Ihr müsst mir gleich nur sagen im Stream, ob das Video zu laut oder zu leise ist, weil ich, wie gesagt, YouTube nicht eingestellt habe vom ganzen Soundeinstellungen und den ganzen Kram. Wenn es da irgendwas gibt, sagt mir Bescheid. Ich denke mal, Ton wird zwar nicht so mega interessant sein, aber dass man vielleicht zumindest ein bisschen was hört. Auf jeden Fall, Leute, schon mal vielen Dank für die 25 Zuschauer, die wir im Stream sind. Sehr, sehr nett. Auch für die 6 Likes, Leute. Geil. YouTube-Stream, wie gesagt, mache ich ja nicht so oft. Was ist eigentlich deine Lieblingskreatur in ARK? Ihr könnt mir gerne eure Lieblingskreatur auch mal dazu schreiben. Meine Lieblingskreatur in ARK ist auf jeden Fall eigentlich der Managam. Bin ich ehrlich. Ich mochte sie früher lieber, bevor sie genervt worden sind. Aber vom Style her, ich liebe Manas. Ton und Lautstärke ist top. Ich meine, die haben eine große Auswahl. Machen die in Arc 2 mit schon nice over rennt. Aus Arc 1. Wie wird das aussehen? Ist so ein bisschen wie ein kleinerer Rex, glaube ich, ist der von der Größe, oder? Der Kacher. Auf Fleischfresser auf jeden Fall. Ähm, ja. Featherlight, auch ein sehr geiler Dino. Also Royal Gaming sagt mal so, wenn sie die alten Sachen reinbringen, das habe ich letztens in dem Video schon gesagt, wenn sie wirklich sagen, sie wollen Overseer oder halt auch Drache, Bosse, Affe reinbringen, nee, so Drache, Affe, Spinne in geilerer Grafik, würde ich es feiern, wenn man das so bei einem Geburtstagsevent macht, wisst ihr? So Beispiel ein Jahr Arc 2 und dann haut man so für den Eventzeitraum die alten Bosse rein, um so ein bisschen, wisst ihr, da hätte ich ein bisschen Bock drauf. Wir haben 19 Uhr, 19 Uhr, wir haben 21 Uhr, wo ist der Stream? Ich gebe nochmal hier drauf. Ja, was da ist. Ja, ja. 5 Minuten hier haben so gepostet. Ist der Mewing. Moinsen, Feldplauze, Gude. Fedomane, Fenrir. Ah, Shadow ist auch geil, stimmt. Also Zeit Fjordo feiere ich ein bisschen mit den Fenrir, stimmt. Mal was zum Trinken, bis dann geht das Stream auf jeden Fall hoffentlich online. Sieht man eh nicht das grüne Licht. Ach ja. Wo ist der Stream? 21:01 Uhr. Wildcard, was ist denn los bei euch? Mal ein bisschen runter machen hier das Licht. Bin ich mega geblendet. Bleibt's. Den Stream habe ich den Link. Was ist den Link? Link wo? Welchen Link? Die vom Stream? Warte mal. Jetzt hier. Ah, oh, sorry. So. Das müsste auch Energie sein. Ja, Trope ist auch geil. Aber der Stream von Valka müsste doch eigentlich hier starten, oder? Weil die haben doch auf Twitter gepostet, hier. Go to the Lowdown und ARK, Ultimate Surgery und Twitch, bla bla bla, hier. Und dann kommen wir dahin. Hier ist noch nichts. Wenn jemand, wie gesagt, einen Link hat, wo er irgendwas schon sieht, kann er den gerne mal hier in den Chat posten, auf jeden Fall. Aber ich sehe noch nichts. Wahrscheinlich haben sie auch Verzögerung. Weiß. Ich werde mal ganz kurz nebenbei einen Holy machen erst. Nein. Aber doch keine Eiswürfel, weil ich habe jetzt keinen Bock, in die Küche runterzulaufen. Weil ich weiß genau, wenn ich jetzt die Küche runterlaufe, geht das Stream los. Also mach ich mir jetzt noch ein Eis hier, Leute, sicher. So. Pulver hier rein. So. Ja, ich hätte gesagt, ich weiß von Wildcard, dass die Caves entfernen können. Deswegen, okay. Der Farbevent könnte ganz geil werden, auf jeden Fall morgen. Hätte ich auch Bock drauf. Muss ich auch bei uns auf jeden Fall mal ausnutzen. Ja, Tropio schon geil auf jeden Fall. So. Wie doof. Wenn es nur 21:03 Uhr ist, ja schon so busy jetzt hier. Zusammen? Oh, doch, auf YouTube ist er ja nicht. Hm. Wie kann man auf der Xbox den Schrei vom Shadow aktivieren? Sehr gute Frage. Xbox-Spieler, kann mal einer auf jeden Fall, dass mal, wenn einer was weiß, gerne raushauen damit. Oh, warte. Ah, das ist Werbung, oder? Wollte gerade sagen, ey. Soll die mal einfach Gänschen-Werbung? Jo, nice, Leute. Jo, cool. Sag mal, Leute, ob es zu laut ist oder zu leise ist.
ARK stream if we didn't have a little difficulty in the beginning. Welcome to the stream. If you don't know me, my name is Cedric. I am the lead community manager for ARK, and I'm really excited to be here. I think the last live stream we did was actually extra life, and we'll be doing that again this year, so stay tuned for that. But we wanted to come to you and talk about some things that are going on. We have some guests on the stream. We have a lot of information to go through, so be sure to stick around and grab a bite to eat, grab a drink if you need it. So kicking it off, we want to talk about PAX West. PAX West, we're down at PAX West this year.
Was lauter.
We love to do these big events. If you were ever around when ARK was kind of in its early stages, we did PAX East in Boston, and that was a really good show because we brought out the PAX Rex. It was about 40 or 50 feet in the air. Really scary, honestly.
Meins halt auch sehr schlecht, Nefarius. Das ist ein bisschen mehr Bilder gucken und zuhören.
We like to do shows. We've done TwitchCon, we've done a lot of various shows, but this year we wanted to start back off and get it kicked off again. So we're coming to PAX West, and if you've been paying attention to our community posts and our socials, you'll notice that we had a real or a life-size HLNA down at PAX West that is very interactive. So if you get a chance to stop by the booth, make sure you go and talk to HLNA and get some information from her. You can even ask her about ARK 2 if you want to. She may have some information. I think we actually have a clip that we can show you a little bit about what that experience might be like if you're down at the PAX West booth.
Hey guys, we're here at PAX and we're excited to see everybody and show off the ARK Survival Evolved Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch. I'm here with a very special guest.
Hi, I'm HLNA, your fifth fractal friend from the future.
Hey HLNA, how do you like it here?
Remind me again, what era is this? Wait, don't tell me. Analyzing. Carbon levels, aerosols. Ew! Definitely Anthropocene.
Yeah, I guess so.
The food here is very strange. Where's the free curry? Where's the battle tartar?
I don't know if we have any of that right now, but we got to get back to the stream. Just want to thank everybody for dropping by, and we're excited to see all of y'all.
Mind if I tag along? Kidding. I'm programmed to remain here. See you later, Survivor.
Glaub nicht, Temo. Glaub nicht.
If you don't know who that is, well, obviously you know HLNA, but if you don't know who the other person is, that's actually Naven. He's a producer at the studio. He's been around for a long time. Just wanted to give him a shout out for being down at the booth and talking to HLNA for a little bit. So as you can see, it's very interactive. If you're down at the booth, I'll give
Ja,
you
Thomas, aber es kann vielleicht sein, ne? Mittelbild die Chance, dass noch was kommt.
We have a live demo of Nintendo Switch, the Ultimate Survivor Edition. If you're down in the area, you can actually come by and get a live demo. We have Scorched Earth in the Island on these demos, and you can get your first look at what's coming up to Nintendo Switch later this year. We actually have Grove Street on as well, and they'll be on to talk about some of the improvements that you can expect to see, some of the changes, and really talk about some of the exciting things that our Nintendo Switch survivors can get into once that's in their hands. But at the booth, we also have an opportunity, as you see with HLNA, to get a photo opportunity. So if you're at the booth, you can stop by, snap a picture with HLNA. If you
Moinine, gute
tweet
Kerstin.
hashtag ARK Survival Evolved, we have instructions for it down at the booth. But if you tweet that picture with the hashtag ARK Survival Evolved, you will be eligible to win, or basically not eligible, you're going to get it.
Das
You'll
aktuell
get
ist
a
gerade live.
t-shirt. It's actually this t-shirt I'm wearing now. It says odds of survival, not good. Also, there's other two giveaways. If you, just for taking the picture, right, just for stopping by the booth and getting a picture with HLNA, you'll get an option of a Noglin hat or a Dodo plushie. And I think we can show an image of what those
Ach, guck mal, die
look
tun
like,
Dodo-Plushies
better
verlosen.
view here. And
Auch.
there we have it. The
Aber das Shirt hätte ich ja wie
beautiful,
gern.
Noglin hat, Dodo, and the t-shirt. And actually that Noglin hat was sort of a collaboration with a community member. She had original design. We worked with her to make the hat. It was a beautiful collaboration. The Dodo Noglin actually came from you know what? I'm going to forget the time period and when that came. I get so much ARK swag. I know, you're jealous. I get so much ARK swag, I forget where it comes from. But it was fairly recent. So those are all the things that you have an opportunity to win down at the booth. But here's the thing as well. We're also doing a stream giveaway. So if you're in the stream and you're paying attention, you'll be eligible to win.
Ja, Thomas, ich weiß, leider.
You know, just pay attention to the chat. They'll put the information in the chat and you'll be eligible to get one of these things. I know the community loves all of our merch. I get the question all the time, Cedric, why don't you sell shirts? Why don't you sell Noglin hats? I never can get an opportunity to get one. I'm not lucky. Well, today could be your lucky day. This could be your day to be in a Twitch chat and get one of these things, or you can stop down at the booth and, you know, your odds are pretty high, you know. In the Twitch chat, there might be a lot of
wird's
people
geben,
there,
Doktor.
who knows, but if you're in the area and you're down at the booth, stop by and get a chance to win one of these things. And also check out the demo. It's really beautiful. So that is information about PAX West. Be sure to check out the team down there, but I have a lot of info to go through, so I'm just going to keep rolling here. We're going to talk about some of the things that are coming up, you know, later this year. You know, obviously I can't give exact dates on a lot of these things, but we have a lot of content that we're adding to the game to give it more depth, to enhance the experience and your engagement with it. Some of these things we talked about in a prior stream. We put out a big post when we put out the ARK 2 announcement. There was some information in there about extra cinematic content that will be coming to all platforms. So we wanted to tease you with a few of those things that will be coming to all platforms, by the way. So that's Switch as well. This content will be coming to PC, Xbox, all these platforms. And it's really great cinematic content.
Ich wollte gerade sagen, da kam doch gerade irgendwas mit Cinematic und hat er gerade gesagt.
I really love the explore notes, you know, the things that we're doing, how we're expanding upon the lore of the game. Honestly, you know, people know the lore of the game a lot better than I do, so I need to study up. But here are some of the things. We're going to start rolling some of these teasers, and you can see just some of the content that we're going to be adding to the game, and you can see the big difference it's going to make in terms of the depth that it'll add to the game and the depth that it'll add to the story of ARK. So we can start rolling those.
Hat er was gesagt? Irgendwas kommt noch Ende des Jahres. Trailer für alle Plattformen, oder? Hat er da gerade was gesagt? Muss ich auch jeden Morgen im Studio. Geht's weiter?
That is not what we wanted to show. I think it might be in reverse order. If you're in the stream control room, I think let's pretend you didn't see that stream. we didn't really show that. I'll be talking about that a little bit later, but I think it may be in
Ja,
reverse
wie es
order.
aussieht, deine Fragen kommen, glaube ich, alle mit der Zeit nacheinander, aber
While they get that set up,
immer geil, wenn es nicht
I think
läuft,
they
oder?
might have it right
Ich
now.
kenne das aber.
Should be the island intro video.
Are
There
you
we
the
go.
one I've been waiting for? You might be. I hope so. It's been so many cycles since I was her. Do I even still remember Hope? I wasn't sure you'd ever turn up. The odds just kept getting longer. I guess I've been losing faith, while they've been gaining power. You have to reach me. Everything depends on your survival. Master this world. Make allies of its many creatures. Grow your strength and skill. Explore this place like I did so long ago. Put the pieces together and find me, survivor. You may be the only one who can.
Das ist Helena, nicht Cortana. Das ist Helena auf jeden Fall.
Pretty epic. It's just
sah
a
geil aus, ja.
little bit of what's to come. And that right there is the island intro video. And as you can see, there's a lot of work that's going into this. There's a lot of energy that's going into it. I think the team is really happy about this stuff, this content that's coming out, because
Das war mega
it
cool,
really
aber was
adds
ging's?
another layer to the ARK story. I know a lot of our community really gets into the lore. So these things and this content that we're adding to the game is just going to strengthen your connection with the characters that you already have, with the lore that you already know. It's just going to strengthen those things and make them add a lot more depth to them. So I'm really excited about that, and we'll go ahead and show another teaser here. This
Noch ein
one,
Teaser.
I know if you've played ARK, then you know about dossiers, you've seen them, you've read them. Well, I think what's really cool, and something that I've always wanted personally, because sometimes it's hard to read that content on screen, especially when you're in the middle of the game. It
Aber das
pops
Abo
up
ist
that you
kostenlos,
wanna read
Doktor.
it. One of the things that's really
Freuen,
cool, and one of the things that I've always
Wenn,
wanted, is we're doing voiceovers.
Oh ja, kannst du gern machen, ja.
For
Wäre
all
geil,
of the
wenn wir einen Übersetzer haben.
dossiers. So, and it's not my voice, and it's actually professional voice talent. So you're going to hear the stars of the animated series voicing over these dossiers, and let me just tell you, it's just another level of professional. It just adds another level to it when you hear some of these voiceovers, and we're going to give you an example of that right now, actually.
Arguably the deadliest creature on the island, Tyrannosaurus dominum is a killing machine. Active mostly when hunting for food or defending its nest, a good plan is to avoid
Ah, das ist der
every
neue Modus.
Tyrannosaurus.
Okay.
It is pure power, from
die
its
Switch.
stomp to its tail. It is not able to intimidate every foe with its roar, but upon hearing it, it might scare the poop out of you. Quite literally.
Ich glaube ja,
Despite
Doktor, ja.
being a different subspecies of Tyrannosaurus, everyone I've met still refers to them as a Rex or a T-Rex. I've long since stopped trying to convince anyone, especially the few who I've encountered wearing Tyrannosaurus teeth as necklaces. Taming a Tyrannosaurus is without a doubt the goal for any warlord or warring tribe. Tyrannosaurus is a fierce battle companion. There is a reason
Ja, ich
Tyrannosaurus
glaube, das
is
ist der junge
considered
Modus,
the
glaube ich.
king of
Die
dinosaurs,
Erklärung vom Dino.
or in this genus, the lord.
Für Kinder
Any
wahrscheinlich, ist
tribe
gedacht
that
auch.
manages to tame one has almost nothing to fear.
All of you know, but you never heard it voiced like that dossier voiced like that. It is just amazing to hear this amazing talent that's voicing over these dossiers. And for me, personally speaking, I'm an ARK fan of thousands of hours in ARKs. These, to me, puts the kind of the finishing touches on some of the things that I've always wanted to see. It kind of adds a finality and that last bit of polish that I always wanted to see out of ARK. So it's really cool to see some of these dossiers come to life, hear them voiced over, see these in a new way. And I think it's something the team always wanted to do, and I'm really happy that we're investing in those things now to give the community a better feeling about it. We'll go ahead and roll another Explorer note this time. So Explorer notes, if you don't know about Explorer notes, you know, if you're traveling around the island, obviously these are kind of littered around the island, but they're meant to
weiß nicht, Leute, von der Frage, das weiß ich nicht.
and keep, and they give you experience points and things like that. But these are mainly meant to pick up as you explore around the island and find out more about your surroundings and the inhabitants that may have been there before you. But let's go ahead and roll that Explorer note now.
In all my life, I have never seen so magnificent a sight. Mr. Nerva may be bemoaning the loss of his men, but I would sacrifice them 1,000 times over to witness such majesty. I have never seen a night sky so beautiful. Somehow, this place looks down upon the world from on high, as though it stands upon the peak of Olympus itself. And my word, the exquisite metal this place is made out of, not to mention that bizarre creature. It reminds me of the material that lines the obelisks, yet somehow more alive. The very walls of this place seem to hum with power and possibility. I must find more information on this material. Perhaps one of these consoles will have something I could use. I'm not familiar with the technology, but I'm sure a scientist of my caliber could get something out of them with a little educated fiddling.
Man, it's the level of quality in that. It just kind of gives me chills to hear these voiceovers.
Da muss ich mal die
Hear this
Story-Videos
content,
angucken, da habe ich Videos
this
zu gemacht.
content that, you know, I've been seeing for years. The Explorer notes, you know, I've read them. I've had a chance to write them, and seeing them in this new format with this voiceover and this amazing talent over it. Again, it just adds the kind of polish that I always wanted to see.
Ich hoffe, die wird für deutsche Synchro geben, das wäre geil.
So it's really cool to see, and hopefully you're enjoying that too. Again, this is just the tip of the iceberg in terms of the Explorer notes and the dossiers that you will see on all platforms when we get this out. So we just wanted to give you a little bit of a teaser of what to expect. Some of the work that's being done on the team, and hopefully it's appreciated by the community. I know that there's a lot of people that have always wanted this content, including myself. So hopefully you're noticing this and noticing that we really want to make sure
das ist eine gute Kurzerklärung, das stimmt.
Community, and it's something that you guys will cherish for a long time. Now this next thing I'm going to talk about, a little controversial, I would say. If you've been around ARK for a while, you're probably gonna smile about the next thing I'm talking about. You're gonna immediately know where its roots come from. So I'll just bring up Scorched Earth Ascension. So if you've been around the community, you've talked about, or you've seen talk about the Scorched Earth Ascension. So I feel people who may be new to ARK, there's a lot of new players to ARK who may not know a little bit about the Scorched Earth Ascension. If you're playing through this series in kind of a series, like you go from one to the next and you're not kind of hopping around, you know that you can ascend on each story map. So there's an ascension, you go through a process, there's a cinematic, and it leads you to the next story map in the series. So, you know, if you start off on the island and you manage to beat the island and you ascend, Scorched Earth is the next, story map in the series. It's also the only map that does not have an ascension. You'll notice if you've done the rest of them, every series after that has an ascension. So it's been a while that the community has asked for a Scorched Earth Ascension. It's been years, to be honest. I remember I've been on streams talking about this before. You can probably pull up clips of me saying that there will never be a Scorched Earth Ascension. You can pull up clips of Jeremy and Jesse and everyone from the studio saying that there will never be a Scorched Earth Ascension. But I'm here to tell you today that there is a Scorched Earth Ascension. Let's roll it.
Oh, das kommt ja auf Trailer. Der Trailer von Scorched Earth? Also, habt ihr das gesehen in Scorched Earth? War das gerade der Abspann von Scorched Earth zu Descent, zu Operation?
There you have it. Scorched Earth Ascension. You may be wondering why we did it. I am too, right? I asked Jesse, I said, Jesse, you sure we want to do this? Jesse, that we put that to bed a long time ago. We don't need to do it. No, I'm kidding. If you're wondering why we did it, it's the reasons why the community wanted us to do it. I think everyone internally felt like, again, I'm going back to this theme of kind of polish and finality, and as we kind of close out ARK 1, it's one of the things that I don't think we could have left on the table. The Scorched Earth Ascension, if we had not done it, I think it would have eaten everybody alive for years to come. We really want to give some closure to the community. We wanted to give some closure to the internal team. Don't think that the external team is the only ones that wanted a Scorched Earth Ascension. There were a lot of people that wanted it, but honestly, there were reasons why we didn't do it. I don't want to get back into that. Jesse explained it very well. He explained it much better than I could, and much safer than I could, because he is, one of the owners of the company. So I won't get into that, but I'm really happy that we get to bring this to you. And it's I know there's a lot of people. I can't read the chat right now, but I know chat is probably going crazy right now. I'm going to see my Twitter later from comments about Scorched Earth Ascension. I'm really hoping that it's something that the community appreciates, something that they will cherish. Hopefully it adds that level of finality that the community always wanted. And yeah, I will tell you this, I never expected it to happen. When I said it would never happen, I really thought that. So I guess this is a lesson to all of us that, dreams can come true. Don't never say never. All those good cliche sayings you like to bring up in these times.
Das ist gerade eine Cutscene, die sie hinzufügen.
Hopefully you loved it.
Richtig verstanden?
Now, one of the last things we'll talk about in terms of reveals and information, essentially this is like a live community crunch. If you pay attention to our social posts, you'll know that we do a community crunch weekly, and we give this information out. So this is kind of what we're doing now. But we will have just for everyone that's watching the stream, I know we're going through a lot of information. We're sharing a lot of content. We will have a PAX recap post on Tuesday that will summarize all this information. So you'll get to see if you just tuned into the stream, or maybe I'm going through a lot of this pretty quickly. There's probably a ton of stuff that I didn't clarify on. We'll have a post on Tuesday that will do a rundown of all this information, and we'll make sure that you're up to date and you have all the information on all the things that I'm going over. But the last thing that I'll talk about for this segment is a dinosaur that a lot of people have been asking me about for weeks and weeks and weeks. We teased it, I want to say, during the Florida launch, we teased that we would have another dinosaur coming later this year. Excuse me. And this is the dinosaur that I want to talk about. Now, what's funny is we have chat, and this dinosaur's name is not exactly easy to pronounce, at least for me. And there's actually a lot of contention on what is the proper pronunciation for this dinosaur's name. So I'm actually going to go with the Google version. You feel free to go with whatever version you want to go with, but I feel safe going with the Google version. I'm probably going to mess it up anyway. Carcharodontosaurus is
Oh Gott, Leute.
I want to say final dinosaur that'll be added into ARK 1. It's bittersweet, but this is a dinosaur that a lot of people have been looking forward to. It is a very mean carnivore. People in my comments have like, man, I need this to challenge the Giga. So a lot of people want this and expect it to challenge the Giga. I'm not saying there will, but I'm saying that that's a lot of expectations that the community has had. So let's go ahead and roll the first image. I think it's, yeah, there we go. We'll keep this up for a little bit as I talk over it. But as you can see, this is not a small boy. It doesn't look like a shy boy either, you know, or a shy girl. So, you know, it's, this dinosaur is going to be changed. Well, I don't want to be dramatic and very hype-worthy. I was going to say it's going to change the game. I think it will in a lot of ways. I think it'll change a few metas, particularly on PvP. I think that you'll find new and engaging ways to use it. And let's actually go into the dossier. Let's roll into the dossier. And you can see some of the abilities, some of its features, a little bit of information about what the Carcharodontosaurus will bring to ARK. Dossier? And here we have it. The Carcharodontosaurus, I'm starting to mess up my words. Carcharodontosaurus dossier. And if you, I know you see, this is where we need the voiceovers because, you know, there would be a lot easier to get this information. But if you're reading it, you will be able to see that it has a lust.
Das war Genesis 1 gewesen, mit meines Erachtens. Oder es kommt doch eine neue Karte, die Vibes hat von Genesis 1.
You know, it will give it certain perks and abilities. I think you
Das
can
ist
expect
reitbar,
this to be
also
a
hat einen Sattel, das macht ja
fairly
Sinn.
useful dinosaur, not just for PvP, but I think everyone is looking forward to this. And here's a little tidbit of information. This dinosaur was actually came second. I believe it came second in both of our creature votes, or pretty close in the top 5. I know it was both in the Lost Island creature vote
guck mal, der kann irgendwas kicken, oder?
Vote, and it came pretty high up, top 5 in both of those votes. So it's really cool to be able to see the community get a dinosaur that was so highly favored in the voting. And hopefully we can continue to do that. That was a really good thing for the community. Community got involved creating dossiers, proposing features that these dinosaurs could have. And, you know, our design team had a lot of fun, you know, going through those entries after day one, going through the entries, looking at the creativity from the community, seeing some of the amazing art from the community who made dossiers for these. And it really becomes a fun design process for the internal team to work on something that is really from the community, is something that, you know, was requested from the community and something that
Da war ein Platzdorker oben auf dem Berg. Und es sieht nicht eher aus wie
very high on the request list. I think we transition back to me now. So yeah, I think that is a lot of the things that I wanted to go over here. I'll just go ahead and do a recap because I know we went through a lot of information pretty quickly. I'll check my notes to make sure nobody's yelling at me through our
Also für alle nebenbei, die nicht verstehen,
That's pretty usual.
Morgen den ARK-News, morgen früh wird es wahrscheinlich mehr News auf Deutsch geben. Ich mache dazu ein Video auf jeden Fall. Schaltet einfach morgen früh einfach auf YouTube vorbei, also hier.
So if you are in the area, or if you plan on being in the area, please stop by our booth. I should have memorized a number. I do believe it is 520 something, but that information is on our website, survivetheark.com. If you stop by there, we have our most recent community crunch has the booth information, but we are down at PAX West. We're really happy to be there. We have a life-size HLNA down there, interactive one that you can pose and get a selfie with. You'll be able to give some giveaways. We have some giveaways on the table here. We have a T-shirt.
Ich mache auch später noch die ARK-News, mal gucken.
Noglin plushie, the Dodo plushie and the Noglin hat. You're able to get those by going down to the booth and snapping a picture.
Aber kein Datum, oder?
If you tweet
hat nicht gesagt, wann. Wann kommt der Carcharodontosaurus? Nur ein Bild, wie er aussieht.
Will make you eligible to receive the Dodo Noglin or sorry, the Dodo Noglin, Dodo plushie, or the Noglin hat. So we have that going on. I think we have a giveaway going on in stream. I want to hope we do. That was the plan. So hopefully that is going on. So you do have a way to receive that. If it's not going on in stream, I guarantee you we'll do something on social media right after this and make sure we get some of these out to the community. But I want to say that there's something going on in stream right now. But if not, I'll follow up after this and we'll make sure we get something out. So we have the PAX West stuff going on. We have the HLNA down there. We have a live demo of, excuse me, the Ultimate Survivor Edition on Nintendo Switch. You'll be able to check that out and see the improvements on there. Actually, we're going to have Jordan from Grove Street on here in a second to talk about some of those improvements. But if you're in the area, stop down and you can actually see them firsthand and play it. It's amazing. And we also just went through some of the teasers. So we went through the Carcharodontosaurus dossier. We went through some of the cinematic content that will be coming to all platforms later this year. So the voiceover on the dossiers, the Explorer notes being voiced over by our excellent top-notch talent. And if you missed it, we're also going to roll the Scorched Earth Ascension again. So let's go ahead and roll this.
Also tonleiser ein bisschen. Nur Musik. Aber das ist jetzt die Endcutscene von Scorched Earth. Aber hat er irgendwas gesagt, ob was Neues dazu kommt? Also einfach nur ganz normaler Manticore-Kampf und jetzt einfach nur eine Cutscene? Oder hat er gesagt, das bringt jetzt irgendwas? Oder kommt doch die Tech Cave, auf die man jahrelang gewartet hat? Einfach nur eine Cutscene, ich weiß nicht. Also ich gehe jetzt nicht nach Scorched Earth, um eine Cutscene zu sehen, bin ich ganz ehrlich. Ich meine, ich sehe sie jetzt ja gerade. Man braucht sie hingeben nicht. 15 Level, okay. Aber nochmal 15 Level? Aber dann wird der Hammer doch... Achso, vielleicht wegen den Hammer? Dass man auch noch Scorched Earth spielen muss? Ja, ganz geil. Scorched Earth ist eine geile Karte. Auch mega viele News, ey. Ich habe das Wochenende nur Videos vor mir, ich sehe schon kommen. Aber ich hätte mir eher gewünscht, dass wir den Tech Cave dazu gefügt hätten. Anstatt einfach nur eine Cutscene. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Auf jeden Fall. Come on. Ja, mal das Operation auf jeden Fall. Aber geile Cutscene, aber die kommt ja dann irgendwie 5 Jahre zu spät, oder?
Awesome. Well,
deswegen kein Holy.
As I was grabbing a drink, we have
von
now
Games. Die machen aber ARK 2 mit nebenbei.
Live streaming. We have now brought in Jordan. Jordan is from the Grove Street team. Why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, Jordan?
I'm Jordan. I work at Grove Street Games. I'm a producer over there. And yeah, we're bringing ARK to the Switch.
Awesome.
Also ein Tablet.
Awesome.
Cool
Make sure his levels are okay. We're all good there. Awesome. So if you don't, I think we were on a stream together a few months ago.
Yeah, we're reunited.
Yeah. This is the first time we've seen each other though in person, so it's been good.
And we even inadvertently color coordinated our
outfits. Yeah, we planned each other's outfits out for each other, so it's been great. No, we were on a stream and we kind of talked a little bit about the upcoming changes to Ultimate Survivor Edition. Nintendo Switch launch is coming out a little bit later this year, but let's just, if you're just new to Switch and you're new to ARK, let's just talk about what Ultimate Survivor Edition is and what that is on Switch. So,
so Ultimate Survivor Edition is basically bringing the Switch game up to parity with PlayStation and Xbox. So players on Switch are going to have the same experience that they can get on those other consoles. So what that means is that a whole bunch of new content is coming to the game. Everything you can expect, the expansion maps, the community maps, a lot of the new stuff we just showed off on this stream, right, is coming to the Switch game first. And yeah, just improvements across the board, which I'd love to, talk a bit more about as we look at this gameplay here.
Yeah, I think if you didn't, he went over things a little bit quickly, but I think if you didn't hear him, all the community maps pretty much par for par. Is that right? For what's on PC and basically what they should expect.
Everything. I mean, we're talking all the expansion maps, right? So you're getting Scorched Earth at launch, right? And then I should be clear, the plan here is that all these other maps will be coming every other month
I think we have a graphic we can show. If they can cut to that graphic real quick. There's a Nintendo, but you can keep talking. But
yeah, sure. So essentially, by this time next year, all of the maps will be out. We're releasing them at approximately 2 maps every other month is the plan.
Ja,
So yes, you'll have
keine
Scorched on
Einnahmen.
launch, and then
That's
all the
gut.
expansions, Aberration, Extinction, Genesis 1, Genesis 2, all the community maps, starting with the, well, not
Ja,
starting
alles
with the
kommt, alles
center,
normal in
that'll be
Ifarien.
one of the later ones released, but the center,
da voll das coole
we're
Mikrofon
doing
rein.
Fjordor, we're
Das
doing
ist
Crystal
zack, die ganze
Isles,
Zeit so.
Lost Island, 2 more that are escaping me at the moment, but yeah, we're going to have everything. We're going to have everything.
that is, I just want to, just kind of pause and take it
Ach
in.
so,
At least
ja,
as an ARK
Dankeschön auf jeden
player,
Fall.
that is a lot of content.
It is.
It is. We don't want to shy about this at all.
Ja,
It's a
alles
lot of
gut, Ruhe, ist auch
content.
nicht schlimm.
If you're not familiar with the content in ARK and you're newer to the ARK series, that's a lot of maps, a lot of content. It is essentially what the experience you will get if you load it up on PC or load it up on Xbox. You're getting the same experience on Switch and in handheld.
Mal ganz kurz,
That's right.
leise,
I mean,
weil
that's
wir
what I
gerade
think
über
is
die
so
Switch reden.
great about
Also, die
what
reden
we're
jetzt gerade
doing
darüber,
is
dass halt
that
die
our
Switch
goal
auf dem Niveau
essentially
von der
is to make
PS4 und der Xbox
ultimate
One
ARK
kommt.
experience
Bla
that
bla
you
bla.
can take in the palm
Aber ich bin mal
of
gespannt,
your
ob
hand.
wirklich.
So,
Muss morgen nochmal
not
nachlesen
even
oder
to throw
später,
shade at
falls der
the video,
Post
again,
kommt.
worked on ARK
Wenn
Mobile.
Scorched
You know,
Earth
I mean,
wirklich
we're
15 weitere
taking it
Level
up a notch.
freischaltet,
We're
Leute.
bringing the full ARK
Ja, das ist
experience to
geil.
Switch.
Aber wir warten mal ab,
We're really making
bis wir
it
später vielleicht
one
die
of the best
Auflistungen
places
sehen.
you
In den
can
ARK
go,
News,
right?
wie
We've done
gesagt,
a
die
lot
kommen
of
wahrscheinlich heute
improvements
Abend
to
oder
the
morgen
game.
früh.
One of the
Und ich
things
mache dann
that
zu allen
my
Dingen, wenn
personal
es zu
favorite
viel
is
ist,
the virtual
einzelne
cursor
Videos,
in all of
die ihr euch dann in
menus.
Ruhe nochmal anschauen
So
könnt und
that,
die
for
Übersetzungen
me,
eingehen oder den ganzen Kram. Also es
being
gibt
a
ja, ihr kennt ja
traditional
ARK News
player
auf dem
playing
Kanal
on
sind
other
immer.
consoles around PC
Ach,
and now having that
Und auch wieder,
virtual
wie wir
cursor when you're using the
nebenbei,
controller to
vielen Dank
navigate
für
the
die
menus,
46
drag
Zuschauer
stuff around,
gerade
your
und
remote
auch die Abos, die
inventory,
reinkamen, Leute.
things like that. I mean,
Vielen,
it just-
vielen Dank.
Let me tell
feels
you,
like a game changer,
No,
you
it
know?
does.
It's
And if you're
great.
down at PAX, be sure to stop by the booth and check it out.
Gucken, was noch kommt. Ich habe
It's-
das Gefühl, es
it's
kommt
easily
noch was.
understated. We're talking about it in such an understated way, but it really makes a tremendous difference on your experience and the quality of life that you feel as you're playing the game. So, I mean, that's just one, an addition that.
It's just one, right?
yeah,
I mean,
it's
there,
just-
there's improvements across the board. Even, traditional players will boot it up and right away notice some things we've changed to the main menu, right? Of just little, that's essentially, we don't want to change the design.
nicht
of the game,
eine
right?
Frage
We're
des
not
Verleihs
trying
hier
to
im
mess
Video.
with the design. This is the
Timo
same
hast recht
exact
auf jeden
game,
Fall.
but we just wanted to make little improvements here and there that just really make it a great experience, and especially for players on Switch who may be new to the game. I mean, it's just very welcoming and inviting right from the get-go. And that's our goal,
Yeah, and I think the changes that you're making makes it very applicable for the format being handheld. Just like the cursor. ARK is a very, it's a lot of content.
Auch
There's a lot
Servus.
of stuff can be in your inventory. There's
Yeah.
a lot on the screen. There's a lot of information.
Das
to
PAX
take
Event,
in,
neues
and
Event.
I think the Grove Street
Genauere
team did an
Infos
excellent job at
später
kind of
wahrscheinlich,
giving you a good
welche
experience,
Farben alles kommt, das wissen wir aktuell noch nicht. Das kann ich dir wahrscheinlich
Not
morgen früh in den
overwhelmed.
ARK News erst
I mean,
sagen.
for me at least, I'm speaking from my own personal experience, I'm not overwhelmed. And in the prior, I played on other handhelds. I played Switch. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with navigation when you get inside of.
Es gibt auf jeden Fall neue Farben.
That's a lot of
Exklusiv an Farben.
why we made some of the changes we did is, for example, some players have already noticed that we slimmed the hotbar down to 8 instead of 10, right? And perhaps, really our idea there is if you look at what the controller
Man kann sagen,
mappings are.
alle
for
Farben
us, like on
wahrscheinlich,
the
einfach
hotbar, you
alle,
had to do
glaube
these
ich einfach.
crazy button combinations.
Habe ich auch von
because
gemeint. Ja.
Everything on a controller is in groups of 4, and here we've got 10 things. So,
Oh, guck mal,
if you remember, you
Switch-Version.
had to hold down one button while you're selecting it. It was so we're just trying to streamline it and just make it
Die
an
war eigentlich ganz
enjoyable
gut aus,
experience
oder?
that, especially if you're a new player, does not get confusing with lots of complicated controls. We've
ist nicht mal eine
redone the
OLED-Switch.
options menu as well, so that you've got a lot more streamlined, and it's a lot more clear of what you can
Warum
change
packt
for
man
your
Beeren
game
unten
and make it
in die Leiste?
suited to how you want to play ARK.
And it really makes a ton
gut
of
zum Essen,
difference.
aber-
All these little changes, and I know you're saying you want to change the game major, and I think that it's important. The ARK experience is the ARK experience, but all these little changes you're doing makes the ARK experience better. In my opinion, of course.
Das ist ein bisschen anders.
Speaking from my own personal
Yeah,
experience, it makes it a lot easier to manage, a lot easier to see the things that are going on. Just like you said, I really like the change of narrowing down the items you can select in the menu because it just makes sense.
Ich würde sagen, das ist PS4-Grafik, haben sie ja gesagt auf jeden Fall, ja.
And we're just talking about some of the.
Aber es ist besser
I mean,
als
there's
jetzt, weil
visual
Nintendo
changes
Switch hat
as
ja
well,
grauenhafte
visual
Grafik.
upgrades that come
Sure,
along with
yeah.
this,
I
right?
mean, as you can see on the stream right now, the game, it looks pretty much just as it does on PlayStation and Xbox. We've got a
Und sehr
very
flüssig.
talented team at Grove Street, and
Also wenn er
they've
läuft,
really
die Frage
just
ist, wenn er eine mega
kicked
Base
ass,
gebaut
for lack
hat
of a
und
better
30
word,
Schreiber
you know,
löschen, ob es immer noch
you
flüssig
look
bleibt,
at
ist eine andere
what you're
Sache.
seeing here on stream, and the game just looks really great. it looks great. You know, some players I know on our last question were asking about docked mode. We're showing handheld here, but I can assure you if it's docked, it looks just as good as well. And it performs great in both modes. We're really just, you know, across the board, you know, you're looking at
Sollte
great
die Frage nicht, nein,
shadows,
das ist
great
ein normales
lighting,
Ich meinte nur,
great textures.
OLED ist ja neuer. Ich
We
hätte
talked
gedacht,
about
der würde
the
auf der OLED
performance. I
spielen.
mean, another thing that I'm really proud of is the load times. If you're booting this game from, let's just use single player as an example, and you go hit launch Scorched Earth, you're playing Scorched Earth in 20 seconds. I mean, it is on all the platforms, perhaps the fastest loading one. And yeah, I mean, the team.
Okay, 20 Sekunden.
That is amazing. I'm not even going to lie to you. The first time that they showed me footage from this, you know, from this build, I actually thought it was
doch die OLED.
They didn't tell me what it was from. They
We
just
snuck an
sent it to
Xbox
me.
into the Switch
I
casing.
actually thought it
Stimmt.
was an Xbox.
Also, sorry,
so it
doch
just
die
goes
OLED.
to show, you know,
Ist aber egal, die normale
level
Switch geht
of
auch.
attention that you put into this upgrade, the hard work that the team is doing.
Oh, da ist aber gerade
And we
nicht so
didn't
flüssig
even
gelaufen,
mention
oder?
this, but isn't there a free upgrade for current users?
That's
that'll
right.
be out
That's
there?
right. Yeah. So anyone who already owns Ark Survival Evolved on Switch is getting all of our improvements for free. So all the improvements that we're making for the base game, you know, what we just went over, the load times, the visual fidelity, all of that stuff, you're getting that for free. It will come as a patch on release day for everyone who owns Ark Survival Evolved. And the people who own Ark Survival Evolved are also going to get Ark Dinosaur Discovery, which is a new experience that we've got coming, which is geared towards kids. It's essentially stemming from a lot of us on the team having children and having them come up and see us playing the dinosaur game and wanting to play and being like, maybe you don't want to get pounced by a raptor right away.
Yeah.
You know, you're 4 years old, you don't quite have this down. So we'll be showing a lot more of Dinosaur Discovery later this month. But yeah, we've essentially taken Ark and made a streamlined mode that is just really simplified and fun for kids and filled with
Der Entdeckermodus, den stellen sie noch später im Monat vor, das nicht verstanden.
And it's
Later
all
month,
voiced by
later
HolyEnergy.
später
He's
Monat.
guiding us through the
That's
mode. So it's really...
And I think that's
genau.
a beautiful, just kind
ARK
of
Dinosaur Discovery. Darauf freue ich mich ein bisschen.
Because
Finde ich
I
ganz
know
geil.
a lot of our community players play with their kids, or you know, they either play because of their kids, or they force their kids to play
Right,
because they
exactly.
play. You
Exactly.
know, so
now you can hand the Switch off to them and feel comfortable that they'll be able to play, and they're not going to be like, how do I craft, you know, how do I do such and such? It's all just very
And I imagine
simple.
they'll probably learn a little bit more. It's a little bit more streamlined in terms of learning.
Very
things.
streamlined,
And,
yes.
Yeah, so as he said, they'll share a little bit more about that later, but I am really excited to hear about that. I know the community is probably really excited to hear about that. I saw a lot of comments about it. You know,
Oh Gott, ey, mein Wochenende voller ARK-Videos ist jetzt schon cool.
Kids experience would be like. So you'll hear more, but
You will. We can't wait to show you guys. Right now, yeah, we just want to talk about Ultimate Survivor Edition.
Yep.
And so to your point, you know, those who own the base game, you will have the option of purchasing the Ultimate Survivor upgrade.
Okay.
So if you want to get everything, you know, it's a great value. I think out of the box, the Ultimate Survivor Edition will be $49.99.
And just so everybody knows, what does that include?
So Ultimate Survivor Edition, right? It's great value, $49.99. You're going to get everything.
Gotcha.
So if you don't own anything about ARK on Switch, you pay $50.
mein Chef ist ein Arsch, ich weiß.
You're
Muss ich
getting
mal arbeiten
all the
lassen.
expansion maps. And
Safe to
you're,
say all the content.
All
all
the-
has.
right,
That's
you're,
what I
you're
guess.
getting everything.
You're
You
getting
get
the
everything,
whole
right?
thing.
And it all gets
100%.
delivered, as we talked about, over that timeline. And then if you already own ARK Survival Evolved, the base game, then you can opt to buy the season passes individually or just buy the Ultimate Survivor upgrade for $40 and get everything that way.
Okay.
So, you know, again, if you look at how we've set things up, you know, the studios set it up on Xbox and PlayStation, it's very similar, right?
Okay.
Of just the options that you will have on your upgrade paths. It's very comparable to that. And yeah, we just want to give players choice, you know? So you have multiple avenues to get all this content when you're ready to play it.
And as you said, those it'll originally launch with the island and Scorched Earth, and the other maps will be rolling out on intervals. I think they have a graphic up there. There it is. So you can see
Day one,
the intervals
December.
in the order that things will come in. And I'm
Quartal
sure we'll show more
1,
information on the community
Quartal
maps a little bit
2,
later. But
Quartal-
this is what you can expect to kind of the story
Okay.
content and the official content.
Denke ich mal eher, dass es im Oktober
Kind of the
rauskommen wird.
timeline that we're working
Oder
And let's talk
November
about that
sogar.
story content, right? Because now with Ultimate Survivor Edition on Switch, this is essentially, you know, if you're a fan of ARK lore and the story, I mean, this is the most complete experience that you can get. I mean,
Die Kryos
with
war
the
extrem.
new- handheld, you know.
Handheld is where I'm saying.
We've got the new cinematics. You teased one already. So you've got these new cinematics for the Island and Scorched. You're going to have the Scorched Ascension. You're going to have new voiceover from HLNA and Rockwell on all the creature dossiers, all the Explorer notes. Like they're
Das ist aber
voicing
geil,
all of
alle
that.
Clone-Notes vertont.
So really, just when it comes to ARK
ich
lore,
auch.
like this is a complete experience, my friends.
It is.
And,
It is. It's really, again, it's hard to kind of state how much is actually going into this.
Yeah, it's.
You know, if we had a
Aber
sheet
die
and listed
kam mit
every
Extinction,
dino and
kam die
everything that's going
Kryos.
into it, I mean, you would be like, what? How's that possible?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Which is why it's really cool that
Habt ihr verstanden, ob die vertonten
really
Explorer
take
Notes
ARK
auch auf dem
with you on the
PC
go.
und so
You know,
bringen
we've
oder
always had
bekommen die
ARK Mobile
vertonten
on
Explorer
the
Notes
go.
nur
But
Nintendo
this is
Switch?
the definitive ARK experience, and you can now experience that on the go.
Yeah,
wherever you are.
just as we're seeing on the stream right now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in the palm of your hands, you've got it. Yeah, so we're super stoked on everything about it.
I think we're marching towards an October 25th.
Das wäre cool, auf jeden
launch,
Fall.
Right, we're projecting that. Right?
Yes,
Still,
October 25th is our planned release date.
Awesome.
Can't wait for everyone to get their hands on it.
I am really excited.
gesagt?
And you can get this. Let's just repeat. You can get your hands on it a lot quicker if you're in the.
Yeah,
you're in the
come on down to
Seattle
PAX, right?
area.
We got the rest of the weekend. So
Yep, you have the rest of the
we'll
weekend.
be there through
There are-
Monday.
Yep, be there through Monday. There are live demos. You get a good amount of time on these demos. You can check it out. You can check out both maps if you want to. Really come down and check and see what the team is doing.
Yeah, I mean, to be clear, if you head down to PAX, right, you're going to be able to check out the Island in single player, you're going to be able to check out Scorched Earth in single player, and then you're going to be able to check out the Island and Scorched in multiplayer as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's all there for people who come down and check out the PAX booth and maybe pick up a few cool items
Yeah,
too while
maybe
you're
pick
there.
up
you
a
know?
few cool items. But I really urge you to if you're in the area because this is really, personally speaking, I think this is, you know, I love to see that this happening. This kind of putting more energy into the Switch, you know, and you know, our community has been really vocal. We have a very vocal Switch community that has been.
I've started hearing from them, and hello to all of you out there who I've spoken with already, and we hear you. All right, we're doing this for you guys.
And it's been a long time
Xbox
coming,
und PC
you know,
Release.
and I'm glad a lot of these things have been in the works. And,
Also ARK 2.
you know, I haven't been able to speak on them, so it's really glad, and
Yeah.
I'm really.
ARK
I'm
2
happy
kommt, wenn ich
that
mehr
we
für
Feels
die
good when we
Switch
can finally talk
Exactly,
about
we can
this
talk
stuff, right?
about it
Yeah,
and show it.
I know.
It looks
Yeah.
good and it plays good. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It really feels good when you can put out a good product and talk about it. So are we missing anything? Was there anything that our bosses would tell us that we
No,
forgot
I
to
mean,
say?
you know, let's check our notes, Cedric, right? But I think we've
zwei wird
touched on
eher für
everything.
den
We've talked
Nachfolger
about
von der
the
Switch kommen.
performance,
Wenn
right?
überhaupt dafür.
We've touched on all of the new content that players are getting, all of these maps, all the improvements we've made to the game, and how, you know, again, it's in the palm of your hands. Like you've got the full. That's really what I keep coming back to, right? Is you've just got the full ARK experience in the palm of your hands, and it runs and plays great.
As you can see, it's right there on the stream, and you can see it in first person if you're down in the area, and you'll get to see it a lot closer if you're a current Switch member or current Switch user. October, you know, started looking out.
Oktober, der
starting
gerade
to
gesagt,
see more energy going out, more promo stuff. But I'm really excited to get this in the hands. I can't wait to put my hands on it a little bit more and dig into it. I've always wanted a definitive ARK experience on the go. Especially my,
Ich wollte sagen,
you
später
know,
auch für
my
die
family.
anderen, aber die
always
Frage
wonder
ist,
what
ob es
I
für
do
die
for a
Switch
living.
kommt.
They're
Ich
like, what do you
glaube,
do for a
die Switch
living?
bekommt ja
I can now
irgendwann mal einen
just pull up
Nachfolger.
Switch and show them
Yeah,
this.
right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Und ich rede nicht von
Exactly.
OLED, sondern von der richtigen
All
Switch-Nachfolger.
experience,
Und ich denke
so
mal, dass ARK
thank you
2
for
eher
spending some
dafür kommen
time
wird.
with us. So we'll go ahead and transition and get ready for our next guest. Some special guests coming in here.
Hey guys, we're here at PAX and we're excited to see everybody and show off the
Tut mir
ARK
leid, dass ich leise
Survival
bin.
Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch. I'm here with a very special guest.
Hi, I'm HLNA, your finned fractal friend from the future.
Hey, Shady, how do you like it here?
Remind me again, what era is this? Wait, don't tell me. Analyzing. Carbon levels, aerosols. Ew! Definitely anthroposaur.
Yeah, I guess so.
The food here is very strange. Where's the free code? Where's the
Ich glaube, der hat
Batist
Oktober
cartel?
gerade gesagt.
I don't know if we have any of that right now, but we got to get back to the stream. Just want to thank everybody for dropping by, and we're excited to see all of y'all.
Mind if I tag along? Kidding. I'm programmed to remain here.
Hätten wir auch so eine Helena hier an die Wand hängen, oder?
See you later, survivor.
Ist doch cool. so sieht der Stand da aus. Cool. Die zocken auch auf einer... Ja, wohl ist auch eine OLED, oder? Aber das geht auf der normalen Switch, keine Sorge. Das war doch, glaube ich, jetzt die normale, oder? Das ist doch die OLED. Ich will auch ein Bild machen. Fahr mal kurz nach Amerika, Leute. Ne. Ende? Oder Werbung? Nee, die animierte Serie, Leute. Woo! Sieht aus wie Avatar. Aber das ist Helena auf jeden Fall. Und Milin? Nee, Meilin? Wahrscheinlich, oder? Ich glaube auf YouTube oder so. Ich glaube nicht, dass im Fernsehen laufen wird. Aber passiert auch was? Ich glaube, die wird nur im Internet ausgestrahlt. Ich würde auch sagen, keine deutsche Version, wahrscheinlich eher nur mit Untertiteln. Habe ich mega Bock, Leute. Ja, aber gerade sagen, auf jeden Fall auf Sky. Safe. Jetzt kommt was, war das? Doch nicht. Musik hat so gepasst. Die wurde von ihr gemacht, ja. Aber Leute, ich will auf jeden Fall, wenn es dazu wöchentlich Folgen und sowas gibt, werde ich zu jeder Folge so wie so ein Recap machen, wo wir drüber reden, ein bisschen über die Story eingehen. Also auch keine Sorge, wird auf jeden Fall auch einen Videos zur Serie geben. Aber warum denn nur ein Standbild? Zeigt doch ein bisschen mehr als dieses eine Bild. Wo das ein Teaser versteckt. Aber das sieht aus wie ein Haus. Und die hat ein Buch in der Hand. Aber auch, das war einfach nur der Teaser auf die Musik. Ich weiß nicht, ob es Milin oder Meilin sein sollen, die Bestien Queen. Oder ich weiß nicht, ob das die ist. Also die den ersten Giga gezähmt hatte. Aber ich weiß nicht, ob sie das jetzt ist. Da hinten ist Helena auf jeden Fall. Bin mir aber nicht ganz sicher. Meinst du, Thomas, echt? Die tun ja nicht mal bei Cutscenes teilweise deutsche Synchro machen. Ich würde sagen, es ist die Beast Queen, oder? Ja. Ich würde sagen, es ist doch die Beast Queen, oder? Ich meine, ich würde von ausgehen, es wird keine Mega-Serie werden. Also keine, wisst ihr, was ich meine? Ich denke, dass ich mir vorstellen kann, vielleicht bekommen wir zu jeder Karte eine Folge oder so. Stimmt. Ja, war Genesis 2, die Endcutscene war doch ein deutscher Untertitel. Oder? Ich habe letztens nämlich gerade die Cutscenes angeguckt. Ich habe keine gefunden mit Deutsch. Nur Untertitel hatte ich, glaube ich, gefunden.
Great. That was awesome.
Yeah, that was a little clip from the TV show, just a music segment from
Explode-Notfand, glaube ich.
one of the
aber Cutscenes, glaube
episodes,
ich, nicht.
and a little image that's kind of related to some of that music. So, little preview of things to come there.
Cool. Well, I'm Jesse Rapsack, one of the co-founders.
Jeremy, the other co-founder.
In case you haven't seen us in a while, don't remember. It's been such a long.
Ja, natürlich, aber die Frage ist, ob es wirklich eine krasse Serie wird. Guck mal, es gibt auch beispielsweise Pokémon-Serien, die nur auf YouTube laufen. Pokémon Origins, Pokémon Generations zum Beispiel, die laufen auch nur auf YouTube und sind trotzdem krass animiert und trotzdem gut ausgearbeitet.
This segment's really just going to be focused on the music of ARK, certainly, with the musician of ARK, Gareth Coker, who will be joining us, and we'll probably talk a little bit about the TV show and what's coming there, and also just kind of discuss with him some of the fun stuff he's done over 8 years, I think, nearly, of working on this.
I think we're all married now to Gareth.
And it's just been super fun. I mean, obviously, Gareth is doing ARK 2, in case you didn't know. So that's a little farther down the horizon to reveal too much in that area. But one of the fun things, I think, is that we've had this one singular musical force from the very beginning. And while Gareth's every expansion pack or map is a little different in terms of musical style, there's always this like through line of I think the soul of ARK. That's what Gareth is.
Definitely.
The musical soul, and it's like I don't really see any. If it wasn't Gareth, it wouldn't be quite right, in my opinion. Which is why when it came to the TV show, there was only one choice. Do we have Gareth on camera yet?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, I haven't actually had a chance to go to the show floor yet, but from what I've seen, HLNA turned out really nicely.
Yeah. It's quite impressive, actually, the things that we can do these days. And,
Discord
when
calls
the
into
team first saw HLNA as a work in progress, a lot of the artists that worked on it, and even non-artists, thought it was a render. It was all CG, but man, she really looks good.
The HLNA canonically was built by Helena. Non-canonically here in PAX was actually built by an amazing team out of Germany called Helios Models and Lighting.
Yes.
And actually had them build a Starship Enterprise D for me a few years ago. Studio scale, 6 foot, full detail. So I was like, who's going to build a really detailed HLNA and not mess it up? So we contacted them. They were up for it, and they ran with that. They worked with the artists at Wildcard directly, including technical art director Lawrence, and just managed to capture all these subtle things about the character. But the display, man, the display is the thing that was craziest. Like when we were first thinking of doing the HLNA build, we were thinking of just putting like an OLED display in there, which would have been cool, mind you. I mean, it still would have been neat. And then, was it Lawrence? I don't know. He's like, what about a holographic type fan display? And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. I probably shouldn't have said it on stream. Like, I didn't even know what it was. But it worked out.
It's the cool thing is that it was perfect for the character, right? Because it's got the circular center and floating the expressions off of the surface, and then all the lighting that HLNA has anyway, in addition to the screen, it all just merges together really amazingly.
And of course, the soul of HLNA, the life-giving component, of course, is the voice, and it's voiced by Madeline Madden, who plays HLNA in the game, Helena Walker in the game, Helena Walker in the show. So really getting all these wonderful lines written by Peter R. Ryder and then recorded by Maddie, and then having them interactive at the show. It just suddenly there's like an actual character there, and it's not just a model.
It's so fun. It does remind you of like going to Disney World or something and interacting with
Unifarin, der Stream wird auf jeden Fall
that's what
danach
the
ja auch noch
idea probably
anschaubar sein.
originally. Jesse and I went to Galaxy's Edge, not Galaxy's Edge, Galactic
Ich glaube, er meinte gerade, Thomas, dass der Sound ihn irgendwie daran erinnert hat, glaube ich.
These Stormtroopers, interacting with them is pretty fun. I bet we could do something with that, maybe.
Totally.
And thus was the inception of the idea of building an HLNA. But yeah, I hope everybody who has a chance to go to PAX gets some FaceTime with that robot.
Yeah.
And if you don't, hopefully you'll see a lot of cool videos of people meeting HLNA online, and I'm sure there'll be some funny ones. Some of the lines that were recorded are hilarious.
Cool. Yeah, the last bit of that
guten Nacht,
really
Doktor. Schön, dass du da
before we
warst.
switched to Gareth is that like we really took HLNA out of the game and put her into the world, even down to how the expressions work and how they render. We use all the same kind of core technology to create all of that stuff and put it on the device. So it's really was a huge cross-team effort and collaboration of taking that in-game tech and bringing it into the real world, which is kind of like what ARK is all about, bringing the holographic tech technology and bringing it into the real world at the first game.
So are real dinosaurs next then?
Maybe.
We've done the robot. We have to now build
I think we need more than a fan display to get some of those things working. We need a new T-Rex.
Where's Michael Crichton when you need him?
I know, right? Cool. Looks like we got Gareth on now. Hey, man.
Hey, how you doing? How's everyone?
Great.
Hi, soul of ARK. That's my new nickname for you.
Not sure if you heard his little intro.
Oh, no, I heard it. I didn't pay him to say that.
It's all true.
But yeah, Gareth, we led into this segment actually with a little clip of music from the TV show. From, well, I don't want to say what episode number, but it's from it. Do you know what clip it was? Did you hear that clip earlier or something?
Yeah, I heard the clip.
So you know what it's from, and it's great.
It's all burned into my brain.
I bet.
So many hours with it.
Yeah, it's really, the fun thing about the TV show is that it's so much music, and I don't want to speak for Gareth, but Gareth, I'll ask. I don't want to speak for you. Tell us how working on the TV show has been different than working on the game. Has this been a question that he's addressed before on stream? Okay, because I don't want to
loosely, but it's.
Tell us about a little bit of the difference.
I'm sure he has new thoughts now because it's like 6 months since the last time we talked about anything, at least maybe a year.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're 75% done with the music for the show. I think it's okay to say that. And like where I started on episode 1, where I honestly didn't really know what I was doing, and now I kind of do. The hardest thing is taking music that started in a game, and in a game we just have loops, and the music can just start and stop whenever we want it to. Adapting that material for an animated series where everything, the timing, I have to work with the timing that is given to me. So, for example, we've got some really popular pieces in the game, whether it's whether it's Broodmother or some of the other tracks from the island, which are really popular. And it's like, I cannot take them and put them exactly the same in the TV show, because the TV show doesn't allow me to do that, because everything's timed out in a very specific way. So honestly, the biggest challenge has been adapting the original ARK material and making it work for the TV show. At the beginning of ARK TV show, that was the hardest thing for me to do. Now I'm pretty comfortable with it, because I have more experience, and I think we're up to 5 hours now for music, and by the time we're done, it'll be close to 7.
Gareth Coker, top quality, just music. It's incredible the quantity of composition that he's done for the show, and it's so good.
Yeah. Not just composed, recorded with a live orchestra.
Yeah, I mean, it is, you're just enveloped by this sweeping score. It is, I call it the diamond perfect part of the show. It's the thing, every part of the show is amazing, but it's the thing that it's this mathematical ideal of perfection all the way through. And I'm so happy that Gareth was up for it, and that everybody on the other parts of the show brought such a high A game to it, that the music basically has such was able to work with the great visuals and the great acting. But yeah, I cannot wait for people to hear the full expanse of what Gareth has done, and it covers every emotion I think imaginable.
Yeah, it's really the emotional foundation of the show in so many ways. It's really critical.
And what's interesting, Gareth, is tell me a little bit about how I guess you've been able to explore different areas of what ARK means in the show from the game.
Well, I think the coolest thing about the TV show, if everyone who's watching has obviously played ARK. ARK has a ton of combat music, so much combat music. And while we do have that in the show, this was the best chance that I've had to really explore, like you guys said, the emotional side of ARK. And if I think you've publicized the cast list and the characters, right? There's a whole bunch of different characters. They all need themes. And these themes are not necessarily present in the game soundtrack, and there's a chance to really stretch them out and develop them in the TV show. But equally, it's also been very cool to cross-reference characters from the show, their themes from the game, and then put them in the show. Rockwell being my favorite example. Obviously Rockwell was very present in the Genesis 2 expansion, But well, there's also a character in the TV show, and so just being able to like cross-reference things and stretch out themes and develop melodies in a way I haven't been able to before, and have the time to do it in the show. Like normally with a game, I'm writing like 2 or 3 minute long tracks. With some of these tracks are like really long and drawn out, like 4 to 5 minutes, and it gives me a chance to really stretch my legs musically, but also at the same time always matching the emotion that I want the viewer to feel when they're watching the show.
And there are so many
Er
cool
quatscht ja gerade
characters with
über
themes, like you
die
mentioned.
Musik, Leute.
One thing I've noticed
Kurzfrage, meint
is
ihr,
really
es
neat
gibt im
is
Stream
as
nochmal
you go
ein
through
Datum, wann die
seasons,
Serie kommt? Und meint ihr, es kommt
you
noch
make
etwas? Oder,
alignment between these
oder
themes
denkt ihr,
and
das
kind of
war jetzt die
transition
krassen
music
News?
as characters
Irgendwie
go
habe ich das
off and
Gefühl,
on
es
to bigger
kommt noch
new
was.
stuff, and it's
Weiß nicht, irgendwie
really
bin mal
amazing
gespannt, ob
work.
noch was kommt.
If you've played the other games I've worked on, that's kind of my thing. Like, I mean, frankly, it should be every composer's thing. Like, composers should be like not just using one theme.
Hau raus, Bruder.
This show because there's so many different characters, it gives a lot of opportunities to combine different character themes and like kind of have them play off each other, and that helps also develop the relationships in the show too.
A fun thing, and it's a bit of a spoiler in some sense for the show, is there are lots of flashbacks to different eras and the characters' backstories.
Würde eher gerne eine
And
Karte
it's been
sehen.
fun, I think, also for
Ein Leak
us
bekommen,
to
Info, dass was
work
kommt.
on themes that feel appropriate to those different eras and cultures, and bring in a lot of the cultural influences into those segments. For again another spoiler, those historical set scenes, which are quite significant in the show, are actually all they're acted and written in the languages of the era, with one notable exception. I'm just gonna go out and say it so people don't get all hyped. The ancient Rome scenes are not in ancient Latin. We weren't going to do that to Jerry Butler. We just, there is some Latin in the show, but we're like, we just couldn't. All the other ones though, they're in the languages of the time, and so the music also really feeling of a piece with that was a lot of fun, and we worked with consultants and researchers to get a lot of the details right, both in the language and also in the cultural aspects of those scenes. So that was it's really fun with the IP to be able to play in those, the idea of, I think, really the story that we're able to tell is like it's all humanity. It covers the entire expanse of humanity, everybody now thrown into this fight to save Earth in the far future, and everybody across time and culture has something to bring to that fight that's unique to them and who they are. And some, are less than helpful, and some are actively unhelpful.
Also ich bin ganz ehrlich, wenn sie nichts Neues machen, sagen wir mal, ARK 2 kommt frühestens im Sommer nächstes Jahr, dann ist das Problem, dass die Spieler laufen da weg. Ein Jahr ohne irgendwelche News, also ein Jahr ohne irgendwelche neuen Karten, bis nächstes Jahr Sommer. Plus die PlayStation-Spieler vielleicht noch ein Jahr länger warten müssen. Ich glaube nicht, dass du auf der PlayStation und so 2 Jahre lang wartest auf neuen Content. Wisst ihr, was ich meine? Ich glaube, irgendwas kommt noch. Mal ganz kurz weg, stream noch weiter. Wenn irgendwas passiert, berichtet mir bitte.
So it's been an amazing thing, and I'm really super hyped for everybody to finally hear it. And when that eventually hits, you'll have an OST version of it. You'll have like 7 hours of Gareth Coker ecstasy to immerse yourself in, and it is that.
So I think what we'll do probably for the soundtrack is, I mean, I don't know yet. I haven't really thought about it too much because I'm still writing the music for the show. But we'll probably do like a best of, but we'll also do what a lot of TV shows are doing now, releasing literally all the music for every episode each time. If you look at Lord of the Rings, the new TV show, they're releasing episode 1, episode 2, separate soundtracks. So you'll have everything, and there is a lot of music, and I will say this, and I'm very grateful to the support from the team for this. No expense has been spared on the production of the music, so it is, in my opinion, pretty high quality. We've gone back to we're literally are recording in the same place where we recorded the ARK 1 game soundtrack. So I'm very experienced with that group now, and they've really done an unbelievable job bringing the music to life. And yeah, I just hope people like it, because it is definitely expanding the ARK musical landscape for sure.
One fun thing is, of course, we've been touching up ARK Survival Evolved, the game, a little bit as we've been going through this process, and felt that one of the things that we weren't entirely satisfied with on the original game as we kind of came to the end of our journey was some of the story, not the story itself, rather, but our ability to tell it within the game. That was, we felt we could have done that better. Certainly ARK 2, we will be doing that better.
Die Switch-Spieler bekommen doch eh keinen
there
ARK
would be an
2.
opportunity at the end of the road to maybe just make that story portray in a more engaging manner, specifically by way of great voice talent and a little bit of connective tissue in the form of new cutscenes.
Ich glaube nicht, dass das mit der Switch-Version zusammenhängt. Das kann ich mir nicht vorstellen. Warum auch? Es hat ja keinen Zusammenhang. ARK 2 ist ja auch ein ganz anderes Spiel als ARK 1. Das hat ja damit nichts zu tun.
Now when you do, you get a more entertaining result, which is great voice acting, and then there's these story cutscenes.
Also ich glaube, August, September, glaube ich, passt auch sehr gut, weil da ist gerade die E3 rum im Juni. Hat nochmal Werbung mitgenommen. Ich glaube, dass in dem Zeitraum es kommen wird. Ist eh Early Access. Ich meine, es kommt ja eh in der Beta-Version.
When I heard what David Tennant did on some of those notes, I was like, yeah, that's pretty damn awesome. And of course, Maddie just brings so much depth of soul.
Wie gesagt, für die Switch-Spieler ist ARK 1 ja eh Schluss. Die bekommen ja keinen ARK 2 auf der Switch, daher ist es für die ja eh ein Abschied. Da kann auch... Ja.
So yeah, it's that duality, Helena's journey and Rockwell's journey, I think, will come through much better.
Aber Enrico, ein Titan ist, glaube ich, noch nicht fortgeschritten genug. Also ich denke, dass hier nächstes Jahr kommt ARK 2, aber ich glaube, es kommt eh verbuggt. Ich meine, wie gesagt, Early Access ist einfach bei keinem Game perfekt. Und dann haben wir noch die Zeitexklusivität für die PS und Dings. Aber die neue Map von Nils, da werden viele rumheulen, glaube ich, wenn die kommt. So, kein Fliegen und den ganzen Kram. Ich bin mal gespannt, ey.
Those were fun because I think, Gareth, you kind of got to almost greatest hits it, or at least kind of play on some of the themes that you had already established long ago and remix them, if you will, for these story sequences on the Ultimate Survivor Edition.
I just love having story sequences to write for, and especially coming back to them after having done the TV show and really being comfortable working with dialogue. We kind of started doing this really with especially the closing cutscenes.
Ja, Svartalfheim halt als die Zwergenkarte, ja.
That's some of my favorite stuff that we've ever done in the game, and we're just kind of building on that with these story moments for ARK. But also, and I know they played it about 20 minutes ago, the finally being able to do the Scorched Earth Ascension music, which I wasn't.
Also sowas, mir muss das nicht sagen. Ich finde kein Fliegen auch mega geil, aber wenn ich meine Kommentare teilweise lese und Leute mit No Fly haben viel, glaube ich, Probleme. Also ich nicht. Ich finde No Fly geil. Von mir aus könnt ihr auch Gasbags und Teleporter rauspacken und den ganzen Kram. Ich laufe gerne über die Karte, aber ich glaube, viele andere glaube ich nicht. Das finde ich so schade, warum sie nicht angefangen haben, einfach mal Remastered zu bringen. Warum zum Beispiel kein The Island Remastered, The Center Remastered, Scorched Earth Remastered. Das ist ja so geil, wenn sie die alten Karten das hier nochmal neu auflegen. Überleg dir mal, Der Island mit den heutigen Möglichkeiten, ey, das könnte eine saugeile Karte werden.
It's
Also
either,
geiler als es schon ist.
for me, it's either that or the credits to the Ark Survival Evolved.
base game,
Yeah, it's like pick one of those credits. They're both an
Ja,
epic kind of.
also wir warten mal ab. Bis jetzt haben wir keine Info. Wir haben keine Info, wann Arc 2 kommt. Wir haben keine Info, wie viele Karten noch kommen. Wir haben auch keine Info, sobald Arc 2 draußen ist, dass Arc 1 keine Karten mehr bekommt. Die Info gibt es auch nicht. Hat ja niemand gesagt, wenn Arc 2 kommt, dass Arc 1 keine weitere Karte kriegen kann. Ich war mal ganz ehrlich, es wird ein grundsätzlich anderes Spiel werden. Warum? Wenn genug Leute noch Arc 1 zocken, kann auch sein, dass wir trotzdem weiterhin Mod-Karten bekommen, wie Fjordur, wenn die halt fertig sind, dass sie übernommen werden. Also auch noch in 2 Jahren oder in 3 Jahren. Es hat ja niemand gesagt, dass es nicht so ist, oder? Daher sind alle Optionen immer offen, in alle Richtungen. Die Genesis kommt ja nicht mehr. Die Storyline mit Genesis ist ja abgeschlossen. Also Storykarten werden keine mehr kommen. Wenn, kommen dann nur so Mod-Karten halt oder halt Karten, die so fertig gemacht werden. Es kommen keine neuen Events mehr. Aber warum auch? Mal ganz ehrlich, Leute, das Weihnachtsevent ist doch schon seit 3 Jahren das gleiche. Also, man hat neue Chibis reingebracht, aber im Endeffekt sind die Events doch immer gleich gewesen. Und es kommen halt keine neuen Events mehr, haben sie gesagt. Aber es wird ja trotzdem noch weiterhin das Weihnachtsevent an Weihnachten geben. Und wenn es nur auf privaten Servern ist, aber sie haben ja nirgendwo gesagt, dass es keine Events mehr gibt. Da stand doch nur, es gab keine neuen Events mehr.
Speaking just kind of at a, I guess, philosophy of music design level for these kinds of projects, but especially the TV show, we've really, tried to orient Ark's musical landscape around melody and repeating leitmotifs and thematic patterns, and it's less about just like rote percussion and more about like being able to identify.
Generell war gespannt, wie es bei Arc 2 mit Mods dann wird, den ganzen Kram.
Being able to identify through lines, musical through lines, through melody and theme, and Garrett and I have a lot of discussions about how that is not.
Ey, der Stream geht, keine Ahnung, jetzt fast 2 Stunden und die quatschen jetzt so lange über Dings, auf der kommt noch was, ey. Obwohl schon geile Infos dabei waren, muss man ja mal sagen. Also abgesehen davon. Ja gut, der Bloodstalker war ja von Genesis 1, den wir da gesehen haben. Und auf dem Bild. Aber das hat ja was mit Dings zu tun. Hier, ich kann es nochmal ganz kurz nebenbei mal aufmachen. Warte, Jungs und Mädels. Hier. Nee, gerade hier, das hier, wir vorhin gesehen haben. Das ist halt Genesis 1. Ja, sieht man an den Bäumen, man sieht es an den Pflanzen, man sieht es auch an den Bloodstalkern. Und das ist halt der Carcharodontosaurus. Aber man muss dazu ja auch sagen, der Dino, wenn er keine neue Karte bekommt, spawnt er ja auf anderen Karten. Das heißt, er muss ja irgendwo spawnen. Also hiermit könnte man vielleicht von ausgehen, dass sie sagen, sie lassen ihn auf Genesis spawnen. Sieht man mal das Größenverhältnis. Raptor-Spieler, er ist nicht klein, er ist schon groß.
Make it more memorable in that way. It's also just what I personally prefer, but I think Gareth has really completely nailed that on the.
Ja gut, die kann auch sein, dass die Skelette ein bisschen dazu hingestellt worden sind, um mal so ein bisschen zu zeigen, yo, der neue Giga-Killer. Weil ich glaube nicht, dass sie neue Missionen hinzufügen. Ich meine, es kann zwar sein, dass sie auch eine Mission hinzufügen, wo er der Boss auf der Karte, also, wisst ihr, ich meine, so diese Genesis 1 Mission, aber das glaube ich irgendwie nicht, dass es neue Genesis-Missionen gibt, weil das macht irgendwie keinen Sinn. Warum sollte man das tun? Ich glaube, vielleicht war er eher ein Teaser, er lebt halt da. Krass wäre, wenn er nur da spawnen würde. Das wäre hart. Wisst ihr, sie haben jetzt mit den plus 15 Level Scorched Earth wichtiger gemacht. Scorched Earth hat kaum einer gespielt, jetzt hauen sie 15 Level drauf. Genesis 1 spielt kaum einer. Packen wir den Carcharodontosaurus auf Genesis 1, dann spielen es mehr Leute. Ich meine, das könnte auch sein, aber das wäre halt schon krass. Dann wäre das Taming auch schwerer, weil ohne Flugdinos, obwohl ich hätte Bock drauf, bin ich ganz ehrlich. Ich mag Genesis 1 und ich würde es fast sogar feiern, wenn er nur da leben würde.
Admittedly, just for everybody's knowledge, we haven't gotten super far into Arc 2's music development yet. That's still pretty early on, though it is spinning up. But we
Guck mal so ein bisschen vor wie der Typ links im Bild. Sitzt hier und hört die anderen beiden einfach nur zu. Dabei denke ich mir, könnte man nicht mal was anderes sagen?
Let's go like even more throwbacky with this music. I think we specifically, Gareth, identified Carcharodontosaurus, Conan the Barbarian, as a bit of a point of reference for both Santiago is kind of just an aesthetic,
oder Kibbel auf jeden Fall, ja.
You know, it's about.
Sobald was Wichtiges kommt, Leute, macht den Chat, Leute. Der Giga ist
incredible, you know, like.
Der Giga ist ein ARK auch voll uninteressant, finde ich persönlich. Was machst du mit einem Giga? Den kannst du zu keinem Boss mitnehmen, außer Extinction. Ich habe auf keiner Karte außer Extinction eigentlich Gigas benutzt. Im Fleischfarm, ja, okay, aber weiß ich nicht. Also ich fühle Gigas gar nicht.
We felt if we could kind of capture some of the power that not just Conan, but a lot of movies from that era were trying to portray, it would give a sense of what ARK 2 in a lot of ways is about. Which
gut, aber es war halt ein Bug. Weißt du, was ich meine? Aber regulär halt.
To be quite blunt, like it's a significant point to have in ARK 2 a more engaging combat system, both for
ich hab ja auch einen Giga, seht ihr? Warte.
Dinosaur level combat. And to that end, we felt like let's have
die Giga-Figur aus Jurassic World auf jeden Fall.
Martial prowess. And I realized like another part of ARK is wonder and creativity and kind of, you know, the more peaceful aspects. I would admit that the main theme of ARK 2 isn't really conveying that. So we got to make some tracks that are about that too. Those things are art from a gameplay standpoint. Even if the main track clearly is portraying, you know, Santiago being a badass, there are
du kannst doch diese alte ARK Collectors Edition.
I mean, all the way through. So,
das Gerard, bester Komponist ever. Im Buch und so hätte ich gern sowas. Wäre cool.
You know, being able to live on the world of ARK 2 and enjoy spending time in it, just kind of, you know, developing your base, developing your items, developing your creatures, and being at peace with that, that's really critical as well. If those two things aren't in balance, the game isn't going to work. If the game was just fighting or...
Wenn ARK 2 eine Box kommt, will sie haben. Ich liebe Merch.
Either, you know, at the expense of living, I would say, then it's not really going to be a well-balanced ARK game. I will say if there's any one thing that's probably not been super focused on, just to kind of set some expectations here with ARK 2, probably the actual, like, hardcore survival aspect has not been as much a priority for us. Like, it's still a survival game, but more in the sense of, like, having to survive the world through the mechanics presented, the dynamic events, the dinosaurs, you know, having to find food, stuff like that. We're basically not trying to make the most realistic survival game ever. I guess that's my point. Like the realism of survival.
Beim Giga, wenn der Enrage steht, das war immer so ekelhaft früher. Oh Gott, in der Base, ey. Über einen kleinen Kieselstein gelaufen, direkt Enrage gegangen. Hab's so gehasst.
With the dinosaurs on that world, if we tried to make the survival aspect
so mega doof,
vastly more realistic. We're trying to actually make it less annoying, I would say.
Right. Yeah,
if
more
anything.
Fun.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for like super realistic survival. It just didn't seem like, you know, it's not like the ARK was necessarily that, ARK 1, and it felt like ARK 2, if it's going to be a better game, should be better about how you interact with dinosaurs and how you craft and how you build. Those are the fun things.
Nee, bester Giga verliert ein
That said,
Invade auf jeden Fall, ey.
Modding.
I was gonna say, fear not. I'm sure there will be a hardcore
like,
survival mod.
You know, modding on console. The modding systems are more powerful in ARK 2 as well. They're more thorough, more things you can change at a more basic, fundamental level. It should be very possible for enterprising creators to go through and make an incredibly detailed, hardcore survival experience, you know, tracking all kinds of different things.
Meine Typ links. Oh, wieder Werbung gewesen, okay.
Gameplay systems that are really putting
tut mir leid, der Typ links.
Survive
Da denke ich auch so,
on a moment-to-moment basis.
Darf ich nochmal?
Great mod. It probably will have a niche audience, if you might say, that's really able to master that kind of complexity.
Die rechte die Laber, ey. Ist der
that is not all related to music, but it did relate in the sense that I think the music, the main theme for ARK 2 is trying to emphasize, yes, this is a more
ich glaube, die haben das Rage noch verändert. Früher war das, glaube ich, schlimmer.
Combat-oriented world than Arc 1 was.
Wir haben nur Bilder zum Carcharodontosaurus bekommen auf jeden Fall und ein paar kleine News für
I think as we develop Mika's
ja,
perspective on
ein paar kleine
the world
Sachen.
through what's happening now in the game's development, we'll hear a lot more emotional themes that feel like they're conveying that sense of wonder and
ja, das war früher so ekelhaft. Du sagst, ein Stein runtergelaufen, du wusstest sofort,
that
scheiße.
you also want out of an art game. It can't all be just, hard metal, steel against steel. The riddle of steel is.
Wie der aussieht.
It can't all be that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think if you look at the
redet. Der
really
Carcharodontosaurus, der Kacher,
4.5-minute
er ist
trailer,
aufgeschrieben,
that
Carcharodontosaurus sieht so
literally
aus auf jeden
sums up
Fall.
kind of the two aspects, because there's a sense of wonder.
Ich würde sagen, so
right
Mittelding
towards the end,
zwischen
but then the
Rex
prior
und
3
Giga,
minutes
oder?
or whatever it is,
So
is,
mittendrin?
a pretty long and intense action scene. I'm flashing back to when we recorded that. We recorded that during the pandemic, which was a very unique.
Ich habe ob das ein Kano sein soll.
Which thankfully now we don't have to record in the same way.
Arm her könnte es ein Kano sein, oder ist es ein Megalo?
Yeah, it was kind of
Kopf passt halt nicht zu Kano, oder?
cool to get started on that. And yeah, you guys are keeping me busy between the animated show and Arc 2.
We love monopolizing Gareth's time because, when you have mana from heaven in the form of music, you just want to grab as much as you can. So yes, we love keeping Gareth as busy as we possibly can. If we think we don't have enough ARK stuff, we make more ARK stuff to keep him busy.
Yeah.
Hey Gareth, Ultimate Survivor Edition story sequences. But yeah, he's one of the greats. I'm convinced, and I think time will bear this out, that Gareth is John Williams in the making.
Ich glaube, größer als Giga wird er, glaube ich, nicht. Willst du damit machen? Der Giga ist fast schon zu groß, finde ich. Der wird kleiner sein.
You heard it here first.
Aber ich glaube, er wird einen Tick kleiner als der Giga.
Not here first. I think everybody who's listened to his work knows this already, actually. I just look forward to him hopefully being able to make a splash on the narrative linear media space, I guess.
Und die Mitte auf jeden Fall.
Movies, maybe. But Gareth, sky's the limit for Gareth on music. He can.
Weiß nicht, wenn er so auf Rex ein bisschen besser als die Frage ist, was kann man ihn auch nutzen? Kann man ihn mit zu Bosskämpfen nehmen? Dann könnte es ganz geil sein, weil man einen neuen Dino bekommt. Aber er darf dann nicht zu OP sein, weil er dann einfach alles durchrusht. So, weißt du?
Emphasize explosions or impacts. In fact, it's usually not that at all. That's usually the opposite of what we try to do.
All the Blind Force war eine geile
also,
Musik.
one fun thing that has to at least resonate to me a lot when we first really
geil.
started seeing Arc 2 visuals and how that was looking. To me, suddenly it looks so much more real. Suddenly it kind of.
Wenn er rauskommt, Leute, wird sofort am ersten Tag ein Video zum Boss, zum alles über den Carcharodontosaurus kommen, ja.
Is what I would call Ark Survival Evolved, to being more of a cinematic approximation of what that world would be like, where everything had more of a photorealistic vibe and felt more plausible.
Wir haben gleich 2 Stunden erreicht.
And I think to me that made it feel like
mal gucken, ob noch was kommt. Ich denke mal, das
way,
Stream wahrscheinlich so bis 11.
For
Mal gucken, ob da noch was kommt.
The tech in Arc 1 is kind of a joke. I mean, it has a nice aesthetic to it, but you never really take it it's okay, it's futuristic tech with an interesting kind of aesthetic.
Doch keine
In
Info,
Arc
wo
2,
er
it actually
spawnt.
feels threatening in a way that you can't quite get a handle on it. You get the sense, and certainly it's how we're trying to portray it thematically and in some of the visual stylings that are going on, as something beyond human understanding, beyond modern understanding. It's magical, but not.
Ich bin mal gespannt, was Thema.
And
keine Ahnung, wenn die jetzt wirklich
you look at
was
Thor, for
Neues für Arc
example,
2 raushauen
and the
wollen,
tech in that is portrayed
schlafen am
kind of
Ende alle, weil
magically.
es schon langweilig ist.
Beyond modern understanding. So maybe Thor's powers or Asgard's
Bin mal
powers
gespannt.
are technology based, perhaps.
Aber ich glaube, dass kein K.O.-Theme wird. Die ganzen letzten Tiere waren alle keine K.O.-Themes mehr. Und Thomas, aber normalerweise eigentlich beendet man immer eine Show mit einem Kracher. Weißt du, was ich meine? So, immer normalerweise kommt am Ende nochmal irgendwas Geiles. Wenn es so ein kleiner Teaser ist, weißt du, was ich meine? Wenn es ein Gameplay vom Kracher oder so ist, irgendwas, denke ich mal, müsste zum Schluss eigentlich kommen. Macht man doch eigentlich so, oder?
And I think that's a kind of a slight shift. It certainly was a theme in Arc 1, but I don't think it was visually really expressed in ARK 1. I think that's visually now kind of more clear in ARK 2, and is really plays into the themes of ARK 2. And I think ultimately will play into the music as well.
Es gibt so, das wäre schon krass royal, aber ich glaube, das bekommen wir eher. Man kann schon mal sagen, ARK macht ja einmal im Jahr einen 24-Stunden-Livestream, der müsste normalerweise im November sein, Oktober, November. Und da hauen sie ja 24 Stunden lang News raus, alle Stunde so ungefähr. Ich denke mal, dass wir da wirklich ARK 2 Content bekommen, außer es kommt doch noch eine ARK-Karte und die werden sich halt dann da genauer vorstellen. Aber warten wir mal ab.
Get a new perspective on themes and characters that you knew of in ARK 1 because of a new way of portraying them in ARK 2. And that's going to be really fun, I think, when we get into the music and those things.
11. November, Dankeschön. Ich glaube, er wird kein K.O.-Tame, weil, wenn man mal durchrechnet, ich glaube, Zeit Genesis haben sie, glaube ich, kein K.O.-Tame mehr reingebracht, oder? Alle neuen Dinos sind immer irgendwie mit irgendeiner Mechanik verbunden gewesen, oder?
Not necessarily as many as we'll have ultimately in early access day one. But no, I'm more joking be obnoxious and bad because usually
Michael.
You don't encounter just any one dinosaur at a time.
Ich weiß nicht. Ich glaube, es gab keinen K.O.-Tame mehr, oder? Wenn es 1 Dinos, passiv Eierklauen. Denn es ist 2 kein K.O.-Tame. Birdo kein K.O.-Tame. Lost Island kein K.O.-Tame. Ja, okay, Mewing ist, glaube ich, Mewing wäre noch okay. Aber ist auch ein Starter-Tier im Endeffekt. Und ich glaube, damit wollten sie die Netzgun so ein bisschen an Dinger. Weißt du, dass man halt einfach ihn netzt. Das war der einzige. Aber ich glaube auch nur, weil er, wie gesagt, für das Early Game, glaube ich, sein sollte. Aber sonst kein mehr, oder? Waren alles sonst keine K.O.-Tames.
Some of the TV show stuff might apply in terms of things you've learned and done, but also, new ideas too, because certainly we have dynamic music systems being developed for ARK 2 that allow music to play more organically with the gameplay actions than we did in ARK 1. So that's going to be new designs there in terms of how music's utilized. And then we're going to have the dens, which is just going to be fight music. So, to the extent we still just want to do straight wall-to-wall looping fight music, I think we're going to get to do that in the dens, because that's what they're going to be, is test your might fight arenas. Those should be fun. Because there really wasn't, in ARK 1, a good place for players to test their skills without cheesing the game. Yeah. The closest we might have got was some of the, what are they called? The missions in Gen 1 and Gen 2. I just blanked here. Not like, the arena missions.
Mission? Yeah, the arena.
What were they called though? There was a name for them.
6. November, okay. Irgendwas in der Richtung, seht ihr?
There's like a specific name that just I completely blanked.
Das streamen wir auch wieder 24 Stunden, aber da auf Twitch auf jeden Fall.
We got in ARK 1 were those missions in Gen 1 and Gen 2 that let you fight waves of enemies because you couldn't.
Ja geil, 24 Stunden Livestream, Leute,
da hab ich mega Bock drauf. Like, they had a limited number of dinos.
Brauche ich auf jeden Fall hier von Holy die Dings-Battle hier.
Probably still somewhat possible, but harder. But from what I understand, those are pretty popular.
Da brauche ich auf jeden Fall den Shaker von Holy mit Energy, Leute, sonst wird das mit 24 Stunden.
I remember the actual type of mission that we called them when we were developing them. We had a specific genre type for it. But I like those because I think that players actually found them challenging potentially because they couldn't cheese them or they were harder to cheese. And with ARK 2 having better combat, it's really nice to be able to provide scenarios where we know this is going to be about skill and not just about following a rule book about these 5 things and it's trivialized. And they're going to be better than those kinds of missions we had in ARK 1. So, and I think there's going to be procedural versions of them as well to hopefully to provide replayability, because that's nothing is worse than it being the same thing every single time, especially once you beat it. if it's not different, then it wouldn't necessarily be a
Ja,
challenge.
mal abwarten, was es wird. Mal gucken. Könnte was Geiles werden.
So,
Könnte
yeah.
aber, sag mal so,
We're
es
gonna
gibt
have
einige Mods,
straight
die
up
haben
fight
geile
music too,
Tame-Methoden.
but a lot of the music in the overworld
Alter, wo hast
will
du denn
be
den Shaker?
dynamic
Ja, von Holy.
because
Bei Holy gibt es auch diese Galionen, heißen die, glaube ich.
well, the overworld itself is going to have a lot more dynamics to it as well.
Da gibt es auch einen 2-Liter-Shaker.
Everything's going to be a little bit less.
Aber ich habe noch nie benutzt,
in terms
weil
of
2 Liter
value,
Energy ist schon hart.
what you might encounter at any one
Aber
location.
für den
It's not all just gonna be
24-Stunden-Stream
about fighting. For example, Gareth, here's an
könnte was
example.
werden.
You're walking into an open field and you see a nice herd of brontosaurs traveling as a pack to a watering hole, right? That's actually, spoiler alert, going to be driven by the dynamic event system, those kinds of
Ich sag mal so,
very goal-oriented
wenn der Carcharodontosaurus krass ist, also der wird ein krasser Dino, dann ist auch das, finde ich, okay, wenn das Taming schwer wäre.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Ich meine, wenn was krass ist, sollte es auch, finde ich, nicht einfach zu bekommen sein.
We don't want to do that every time. Because that would get a little,
Und
that
du
would get a
musst
little
oder so
obnoxious.
im Endeffekt nur
So it might
2
be nice
tamen,
to
danach
have,
machst du
like, a
Babys. Weißt du, was ich
variations
meine?
on
Also du musst
one
so
versus
eh
music
nur
cues and they
im
kind
Prinzip
of play
zweimal
every
die
so often
Challenge
or
machen.
something like that.
Ähm,
That'd be pretty neat, I think.
Und die Frage ist, für was du ihn halt nutzen kannst. Wenn man ihn nicht mit zu Bossen nehmen kann, ist die Frage, was man mit dem halt macht. Wenn man mit dem Bosse machen kann, okay, klar, dann macht das Züchten noch Sinn. Und wenn der wie ein Giga zum Beispiel wird und du mit dem nur auf Extinction rumlaufen kannst, dann bin ich ganz ehrlich, dann werde ich mir da keine Riesenzucht machen, wahrscheinlich so.
Yeah, like what you're talking about. When you see something wondrous, some wondrous music should play. But if you hear it literally every time, it's the worst thing ever. So either you do it with variations, or you just do it the first time. Or we could even implement it where if you haven't heard it for a week, I bet there's a way of tracking that because there's all kinds of telemetry.
Leute, wir machen jetzt ganz kurz die Mini Exkursion. Tut mir leid, aber ich will ganz kurz Thomas was zeigen. Für alle, die bei Holy bestellen wollen, Code Shady benutzen, die spart immer 10%. So, warte, Shop, Takeout Merch. Hier. Die Giga-Gallionen weiß, Thomas. Also die gibt es auf jeden Fall. Auch hier noch einen neuen Shaker und wie gesagt hier der Eistee und die ganz normalen Energies, Probepacks, für die man neue Sachen. Echt jetzt? Ende Daten-Stream endet bald außer. Ja, sorry, Internet hat wieder rumgeschwimmt, ey. Oh, ich hasse das. Heute ist irgendwie kein. Entweder mag YouTube den Stream nicht oder mein Internet mag heute nicht streamen. Tut mir auf jeden Fall leid, Leute. Jetzt gerade die Bottle gesehen, also oder war der Stream da schon weg? Ich weiß nicht, wo er abgekackt ist. Die gab es früher, gab es immer, glaube ich, zum Special-Anlass. Da habe ich auch meine her, aber ich weiß nicht mehr von welchem. Und jetzt gibt es halt die wieder in weiß. Ich glaube, die haben die doch Ich glaube, die wurde damals. Ich will gerade, wo es ist. Ich sehe es gerade nicht. War, glaube ich, im April, wo es auch das HolyEnergy Kondom gegeben hat. Das habe ich auch irgendwo noch rumliegen. Aber ich weiß gerade nicht, wo. Wo liegt?
How is this journey kind of, worked for you?
Irgendwo versteckt. Ja, das war aber ein April-Scherz, war das eigentlich nur, aber die gab's dann. Ich habe von den schwarzen Shakern hier, habe ich richtig viele. Weil ich mag die eigentlich lieber, weil man halt sieht, die verfärben sich halt nicht so. Von den normalen farbig, oh Gott, da habe ich 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 Shaker habe ich von den durchsichtigen.
It's always interesting, like seeing how people react to, especially the main theme, because people obviously love the main theme because they've heard it for the longest.
Aber ich habe auch alle Sorten hier stehen, so ist es nicht. Einige schon zum 3. Mal. Ich glaube, der Shark ist schon 2-mal leer gewesen. Ich glaube, da habe ich jetzt gerade meine 3. Dose angefangen. Und Panther und Lion waren auch schon leer. Jo, ja, macht es auf jeden Fall.
Then where it's gone even further into the TV series. And I remember one thing you said at the beginning.
Ja, mittlerweile ohne Mist sucht die. Ich glaube, ich trinke jeden Tag einen Holy. Ohne Mist. Also wirklich jeden Tag einen Holy. Und seitdem der Eistee draußen ist, auch mindestens jeden Tag ein Eistee. Das ist schlimm. Aber es schmeckt auch geil.
Yeah.
Manche trinken halt zum Frühstück und trinken einen Kaffee. Ich trinke halt zum Frühstück meistens einen Holy. So ist es nicht. Ich meine, schmeckt ja wie ein Saft. Und ein Saft und ein Energy in einer Packung. Und dann der Eistee. Ich liebe Eistee. Und der Holy-Eistee ist ja dann ja noch ohne Zucker und so. Aber ich will jetzt auch mal einen pro Tag an. Ich will mit so Eiswürfeln. Boah, Bock drauf.
I think I told him about this recently. I said I never really wanted to hear the ARK theme played in a downbeat way. There's a few ways
Das ist ja immer ein Kaffee.
Dun, 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 dun. And I'm like, oh no, not that majestic
Und das
music.
Ding mit Kokosnuss zum Beispiel.
Kind of
Ey, das ist der einzige, den ich auch nicht mag. Das ist der Bär.
Way.
Der steht da oben irgendwo rum. Den benutze ich auch nicht. Den mag ich auch nicht.
But I was like, yeah, let's not do that one again. It is a powerful.
Okay, Michael, bei dir läuft.
I'm going to spoil something about the show. There's only one place in the first season where we play it all the way through end to end, like the
Das ist doch Blaubeere Kokosnuss, oder?
like the main menu theme.
War das nicht der?
All of it basically. And
Oder
when
Blaubeere
it's played that
Kokosnuss?
way, it really works because I knew that sequence is where that.
Genau, Blueberry Bear war das doch.
Yes, the melody is worked
Die
into many
Eventfarben
other
sind schon
places,
da.
but when you hear it in all of its grand.
Ja, schauen wir auf jeden Fall.
Played end to end, it really needs to be saying something very specific about.
Ich überlege, ob ich heute noch Videos mache zum. Warte mal, guck mal.
Players who played it, and it has to really resonate story-wise what it's portraying at that time. Because again, if you use it all over the place, you just wear out that power. So I think where we've got it planned, because it's actually not an episode Gareth has yet composed, it's really going to
Hier,
it's going to work.
Blueberry Bear.
It's one of those things. I call it the
und ein Blaubeere Kokos.
And I had the same thing when I did the second Ori game. I was determined not to rely on the first game's theme, but right at the end.
Doch oben im Deckel, wenn man es lesen kann. Blueberry.
Cinematic sequence. All right, we're gonna have the biggest possible
Blueberry Kokosnuss.
Of Ori's main theme.
Coconut.
By far the most popular track on
Was,
Spotify.
hey, du wohin?
I kind of knew that. It was always my intention to do that. But like also because we didn't use it that much, it meant when we did play it, it had the most emotional resonance possible. The cool thing about working with the ARK theme and developing other themes over the course of the last 7 to 8
Ach ja, da könnte noch langsam was kommen. Wie lange geht das Stream jetzt schon? Das Stream geht jetzt schon. Also ich glaube, ich habe mir 4-mal ARK geholt. Ich habe ARK gekauft auf der PlayStation, auf dem PC, auf der Xbox über den Game Pass. Handy habe ich auch mal gespielt, auf jeden Fall. Ich weiß nicht, ob es da umsonst war, keine Ahnung. In Ewigkeiten her. Hat mir aber nicht so gefallen. Gerade nochmal nachguckt. Strawberry. Ja, das ist der, wo ich, da habe ich schon 2 Dosen leer und das ist da, wo ich gerade die dritte bekommen habe letzte Woche, die ich mir bestellt habe. Die kam gerade letzte Woche an.
I think that's been really valuable tool in the old toolbox. Nostalgia itself is a very powerful tool, as Gareth was alluding to. It's tricky though because it's like a drug, and if you would, or any substance, I suppose, and if you were to use it too much, you become desensitized to it. So it's like you don't want to keep hammering them with nostalgia over and over and over again, or it's it's going to wear out the power. So you kind of reserve it for the moments where it's really going to have the most impact, and it will.
Wäre das geil, wenn man eine Wand so aussehen würde, oder? Also ein riesiges ARK-Logo und dann nicht ja drüben die Wand machen, groß genug. Und dann so ein riesiges A hin, wäre ganz geil. Ich hämmer mir davon auf Arbeit immer welche rein, besser als Monster und Co. Ich hoffe, du benutzt auf jeden Fall Code Shady, Thomas, oder? Also, aber nur einmal auf PS4, aber seit einer Weile kann ich...
I mean, if you're watching the films, every 2 minutes, it's like you could say you're watched by it. I love Star Wars music, but I think they are not very good.
Ich hoffe, die kommen langsam irgendwann was. Irgendwas müsste langsam mal, ich hoffe, die bringen ja gleich noch irgendwas.
It's like Darth Vader walks in a frame, Imperial March, every single time. The TV shows actually are more clever about it. They like know, like, okay.
Aber nebenbei, Leute, schon mal auf jeden Fall danke trotzdem auch schon, dass ihr die ganze Zeit hier im Stream seid. Vielen Dank auf jeden Fall, auch für den Chat, wie gesagt, für die Zuschauerzahlen, für die Abos, die eventuell reingekommen sind, weil da sehe ich hier keine Anzeige leider gerade. Ja, also auch schon mal vielen Dank, falls einer von euch mit dabei ist. Ja, das hast du sogar schon genutzt. Oh, sehr nice, Thomas. Dankeschön. Noch jemand zu, wenn ja bitte mal Info geben, wenn es interessant wird. Ja, bis jetzt alles nur über die Musik und so ein Kram. Wir reden seit einer Stunde über ARK-Serien.
But yeah, Gareth, so this 8-year journey,
alles gut.
Where do you think it takes you next, kind of, as we head into the sequel?
Well, I mean, we're going to reach 10 by the looks of things, so that's pretty exciting. I think for ARK 2, revisiting the starting to get back into the more primal and primitive nature of the ARK music, which is, you know, we've kind of touched on it here and there, but especially with, you know, Genesis 2, we went all out sci-fi, and now for ARK 2, we'll kind of be going in completely the opposite direction. I mean, there's probably going to be almost no synth sounds at all, or very minimal amount, at least compared to what we've done. And that's kind of why I love working on this, because like every new thing that we do is a new challenge for me. Like if I'd been doing music like The Island for 8 years, it would be a challenge creatively, but because each expansion has been themed completely differently, at least for me, like from my perspective, and now like going back into the primitive world for ARK 2, it's like it's going to feel very fresh for me, which is obviously what you want, and I think it's what the players want too.
We don't want you to be just repeating yourself, essentially. Every time we make an expansion, or in this case, do a new game, we're really trying to cover some new ground thematically and in every area. So, yes, I think the music, wow.
Also Thomas, sag mal, ich bleib bis zum Schluss. Aber falls irgendwas Krasses noch kommen sollte, gibt's ein Video. Ganz ehrlich, also zu allen Sachen, die heute kamen, die werden morgen safe in den ARK News stehen, also heute Nacht im Crunch. Ich bleib ja meistens Samstag bis 4 Uhr nachts wach. Also von heute auf morgen und warte, bis die ARK News online gehen. Mach dann ja das Video. Und dann kommt noch, wie gesagt, Video. Okay, also die Serie ist jetzt zu Ende. Mal gucken. Der Talk über die Serie. Jetzt geht wieder zurück wahrscheinlich zu Cedric. Heißt der Cedric? Mal gucken, was der noch für uns hat. Ah, den ruhig mal mehr rausholen können als das eine Bild. Das morgen auf den AWW-Servern die Farben online sind. Könnte gut sein. Wahrscheinlich nach dem Dino-Kill gehe ich mal von aus. Sieht so ein bisschen aus nach dem Motto: Helena ist irgendwie bedrückt und Mylin ist sehr entschlossen, was zu tun. Und Helena hat ein bisschen Angst, dass was passieren könnte. Das war dieser Moment. Helena, ich muss den Giga zähmen gehen. Aber ja, bei Mylin. Ja, weißt du die Szene? Ich meine, die vordere ist die Person, die den allerersten Giga gezähmt hat. So ist es nicht. Ja, ich will auf meinen eigenen Servern, Thomas. Ich stream doch regelmäßig. Mindestens jeden zweiten Tag ARK. Bei mir auf dem Twitch-Kanal. Auf meinem eigenen Server. Deswegen. Michael, du hast ein bisschen Langeweile. Haben wieder 5 Minuten dieses Bild, habe ich vorhin. Jetzt halt, wenn die wahrscheinlich hier Setwechsel machen. Der muss raus, der muss neu verkabelt werden und der geht dann nach hinten. Und dann wird hier ein kleiner Set-Tausch gemacht. Oh Mann, ey. Ich bin gespannt, was hier auf jeden Fall noch kommt. Aber Musik ist ganz cool. Ja, oder? Ich habe schon auch lange keine mehr gehabt. Ja, auf jeden Fall 100. Echt Werbung? Oh Mann. Ich verpasse eh gerade nichts. Musik zu Ende.
Well, 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 that was such a treat. I think anytime we can get Jesse, Jeremy, Gareth, the legends, all in one place to talk about, ARK and the things that are going on. It's a blast. The only thing that sucks about being a host is that I didn't really get to hear any of it, and I know I heard ARK 2 quite a few times. So now I'm going to have to go back, watch that over, see what people are tweeting about ARK 2, because at least it wasn't me going off the script. But anyway, we're glad that you all could join. I'm glad that you all could take some time out, see what we have going on, see the things that are coming up for ARK. And I just want to do a little bit of a recap for if you're just tuning into the stream, if you got in a little bit late. We'll do a quick recap of all the things we talked about, but also just remember, on Tuesday next week, we'll do a post on our website, survivetheark.com, where we'll recap all the things that we talked about. We'll also post a link to the VOD of Twitch, so you can check it out on live if you want to. So don't worry if you're missing things in this recap. We'll have something out next week that you can check and can get caught up with everything that's going on. But so I'll start off at the top. PAX West, we're here.
Thomas hat gesagt, nächste Woche gibt es eine Zusammenfassung aller News.
I love engaging with fans in person.
Aber warum erst nächste Woche?
And I've already met a few fans down at PAX. I was there the other day setting up. If you're in the area, be sure to stop down at the booth. You will not want to miss it. We have a life-size HLNA that's interactive that you can take a selfie with. And if you're down at the booth and you stop by and you take a selfie, you'll be able to get one of our giveaways, which would be a Noglin hat or a Dodo plushie. If you're in the chat as well, I think there's been some giveaways going off or some giveaways going on for that. I think they're showing the channel or they're showing the picture there. So those are our giveaways.
Was im tiefen Bad? Mein tiefer Bad? Oder sein tiefer Bad?
If you go and take a picture, you're able to get one of the plushies.
Stimmt. Ja, die sind tiefen Bad. Stimmt.
Tweet that with ARK Survival Evolved, all one word, ARK Survival Evolved. You're eligible to get a T-shirt as well. So you don't want to miss out
gar nicht so
on
einfach.
that. These
Tut auch mal
t-shirts
richtig
are pretty
schwer.
cool. Adding it to my
zu
ARK
ziehen.
T-shirt collection. Definitely don't want to miss out on that. So if you're at PAX, be sure to stop by. Also, don't want to forget to mention that there are live demos going on at PAX of the handheld Switch version, Ultimate Survivor Edition. We showed a little bit of that on stream, live demo of that being played on stream. But if you are in the area, you can go ahead and stop down and check that out for yourself. So that is PAX West. We're down there. We're having a lot of fun. And if you're down there, come check us out. Come say hi. Now we'll get into some of the reveals that we have. We'll start off at the top. We'll just let them go ahead and play it, and I'll give a little.
Are you the one I've been waiting for?
Der Trailer war geil.
You might be.
Ich ob ich hier meine Endcard einbaue.
It's been so many cycles since I was her. Do I even still remember Hope? I wasn't sure you'd ever turn up. The odds just kept getting longer. I guess I've been losing faith, while they've been gaining power. You have to reach me. Everything depends on your survival. Master this world. Make allies of its many creatures. Grow your strength and skill.
Wir sind noch in der Zusammenfassung, Thomas. Kann noch was kommen.
Like I did
Als
so
Abschluss
long ago.
der Zusammenfassung.
put the pieces together and find me, survivor. You may be the only one who can.
I think we'll just go ahead and roll into the next one, the dossier and the Explorer Note.
Fassen wir gerade noch mal einmal zusammen. Die neuen Explorer Notes, die reden können.
Arguably the deadliest creature on the island, Tyrannosaurus dominum is a killing
Oh, das ist Xbox, Leute. Guck mal, oben.
Active mostly when hunting for food
Das ist auf jeden Fall
or defending
Xbox.
its nest.
Oder PC, aber auf jeden Fall bekommen wir alle synchronisiert auf jeden Fall.
Power, from its stomp to its tail. It is not able to intimidate every foe with its roar, but upon hearing it, it might scare the poop out of you. Quite literally. Despite being a different subspecies of Tyrannosaurus, everyone I've met still refers to them as a Rex or a T-Rex. I've long since stopped trying to convince anyone, especially the few who I've encountered wearing Tyrannosaurus
Sorry, Royal. Entschuldigung, ich habe von oben nicht die Taste
Taming a
gesehen.
Tyrannosaurus is without a doubt the goal for any warlord or warring tribe. Tyrannosaurus is a fierce battle companion. There is a reason Tyrannosaurus is considered the king of dinosaurs, or in this genus, the lord. Any tribe that manages to tame one has almost nothing to fear.
In all my life, I have never seen so magnificent a sight. Mr. Nerva may be bemoaning the loss of his men, but I would sacrifice them 1,000 times over to witness such majesty. I have never seen a night sky so beautiful. Somehow, this place looks down upon the world from on high, as though it stands upon the peak of Olympus itself. And my word, the exquisite metal this place is made out of, not to mention that bizarre creature. It reminds me of the material that lines the obelisks, yet somehow more alive. The very walls of this place seem to hum with power and possibility. I must find more information on this material. Perhaps one of these consoles will have something I could use. I'm not familiar with the technology, but I'm sure a scientist of my caliber could get something out of them with a little educated fiddling.
Auch nochmal für alle, neue Endcutscene von Scorched Earth. Man bekommt neue 15 Bonuslevel, wenn man Scorched Earth abschließt in Zukunft. Kommt irgendwie 5 Jahre zu spät, aber lieber spät als nie. Ey, ich habe auch Story-Videos gemacht. Mano. Und zu jeder Karte ein Video. Dankeschön.
Awesome. So the things that you just saw, so let me just go briefly through
Den
some of the content that you just saw.
Den
The content that you're
Carcharodontosaurus.
looking at is extra content that will be coming to the base game for all platforms later this year. So what we're doing is we're taking those dossiers, those Explorer notes, and we're making them a little bit more engaging. Instead of just reading them, now they will be voiced over by our amazing talent some of which you've heard already, David Tennant, Maddie Madeline, those people are
Muss man ja eigentlich nur
taking
mit
and
dem
voicing over
Implantat,
this
oder?
content,
Muss man
making it a
natürlich.
lot more, feels more live, in my opinion, and it adds that extra bit of polish to all of the amazing content that ARK has. What we just had up on the screen, so that was that. I almost skipped past one of the things that the chat is probably going to be talking about after this, is the Scorched Earth Ascension. We said we weren't going to do it. We said it a million times. We've been on the streams. We've put posts out about it. But we wanted to make sure that ARK felt like a complete experience for our community. So we wanted to make sure we put a bow on this, I should say, and by that I mean, kind of completing that experience at that level. If you've ever played the games, you know that this ascension was missing, so now you have it. And then the last thing we had on the screen was the Carcharodontosaurus dossier. Definitely butchered that time. I practiced it a lot, I promise you. I spent about 20 minutes practicing that name before I went on stream. But that's the last thing that they just showed you. It is a dinosaur carnivore that will be coming later this year. It was also a dinosaur that was heavily requested by the community. It came in the top 5 in both of our community creature votes, so it was obviously something that the community was looking forward to. I think you can expect this to make an impact on the meta. And not only that, it's knock on wood, it is the last dinosaur that will be released for ARK. So it is a kind of a bittersweet way to send off the franchise with one of the last dinosaur that will be released for ARK. So you're getting a look at it. And with that, I think that is all the reveals that we had, all the time that we're going to share today. Hopefully, you got a lot of information about the things that we're focusing on for the rest of the year. We'll have more information about Extra Life at a later time. And then the last thing I want to close out with is that if you've been paying attention, we actually have a PAX event in ARK going on right now. 3x rates on all platforms, 3x rates across the board, I believe. And then the other thing that I know people love so much are the wild creature colors. I think there are 40 to 50 creature colors in this actual update. So if you're a fan of ARK events, if you're a fan of boosted rates, if you're a fan of wild creatures and the cool colors that you can get when we do these events, you don't want to miss out on this one because it's probably the most colors that we've had in any event. So be sure to check that out. That'll be going on all weekend. And again, we'll do a recap post next week on everything that happened at PAX and everything that's coming up. So that's it. Skinny said is signing out. Buff said we'll see you for PAX West. Or sorry, not PAX West, but Extra Life. I don't have that much time to get buff. See you later.
Hey guys, we're here at PAX and we're excited to see everybody and show off the ARK Survival Evolved Ultimate Edition on Nintendo Switch. I'm here with a very special guest.
Hi, I'm HLNA, your big fractal friend from the future.
Echt jetzt?
Hey HLNA, how do you like it here?
Komm schon, irgendwas kommt doch noch, bitte. Jeder andere Publisher würde auf jeden Fall, wie du schon sagst, irgendwas wird noch kommen. So wie bei der Gamescom Opening Night kam auch am Ende mal irgendwas. Da kam auch, komm schon.
Definitely anthroposaurus.
Yeah, I guess so.
The food here is very strange. Where's the free card?
Ich glaube auch. Ihr habt recht. Aber die Hoffnung stirbt
I don't know
zuletzt.
if we have any of that right now, but we gotta get back to the stream. Just want to thank everybody for dropping by, and we're excited to see all of y'all.
Mind if I tag along? Kidding. I'm programmed to remain here. See you later, Survivor.
Warum hat die auf der Gamescom keinen Stand? Das ist ja voll geil gewesen. Oh nein, du was Mindy halt nicht. Oh nein. Da sind irgendwo Teaser verbaut. Keep your mind straight to yourself. Survivor Edition. Ja, Leute. I have a dream, aber leider wurde er nicht erfüllt. So, wir machen als Endbild einfach mal das hier offen, während wir noch kurz im Quatschen sind. Also Leute, ich kann euch schon mal sagen, also natürlich wird es zu all den Dingen, die hier im Stream noch mal einzelne Videos geben. Ich denke mal, dass ich übers Wochenende, übermorgen sogar wahrscheinlich die alle rausbringen kann, bis mal alles gesammelt worden ist. Heute Nacht, wie gesagt, die ARK-News kommen, bevor ich jetzt ein Carcharodontosaurus-Video zum Beispiel mache. Und dann kommt heute Nacht in den ARK-News oder morgen früh doch nochmal irgendein anderer Teaser mit dazu. Warte ich im Endeffekt, bis die News kommt, weil das ist der sichere Weg, weil das mache ich ein Video, nochmal ein Video, wisst ihr, was ich meine? Da wird es noch ein paar Dinge geben. Und sonst werdet ihr wahrscheinlich alles morgen erfahren in den Videos. Sonst, ihr könnt, wie gesagt, gerne auf YouTube beischauen. Morgen, ich bin am Morgen auch ab 12 Uhr auf Twitch live. Auch da könnt ihr gerne vorbeischauen. Da streame ich schon mal im Server mit dem neuen Serverprojekt morgen. Nur mal nebenbei an Schleichwerbung. Ja, Leute, ich würde trotzdem sagen, vielen, vielen Dank, dass ihr alle hier wart, die im Stream waren, dass wir immer hier so bei den 30 bis 40 Zuschauern waren. Vielen Dank für den sehr, sehr netten Chat. Also vielen Dank, dass ihr alle da wart. Auch wie gesagt, vielen Dank für vielleicht die Abos, die reingekommen sind, die ich nicht sehen konnte. Und ja, wie gesagt, sonst immer Livestreams auf Twitch. Schaut da gerne rein und euch noch einen schönen Abend. Bis denne. Ciao. Jo, macht es auf jeden Fall. Guckt ihr es immer an.